been going so far? I hear that traffic kind of sucks. Mm-hmm.
Tension, as it is every day.
Yes, indeed. Well, unto each life submarine must fall. And if you're a 24 traveler, all I can tell you is I bet there are portions of your life that are much better than mine. You know what I mean? I'm certain that there are things that happen in your life that are worse for me than for you. Travel home, probably not the case.
Now, the good news about 24 is they are finally fixing the part of I-24 in Smyrna that became a gravel road.
What?
Dude, I'm not lying.
There was gravel on the highway?
It was basically like a gravel road.
Well, that
parts of I-24 through Smyrna.
That doesn't sound very good.
It's terrible. Terrible. I've got brand new cracks in my windshield because of it. I'm sure a whole bunch of other people do too.
Yikes. No, that's never any good. Well, God bless you if you live out on 24 out that way. I know you have your own travels and travails and all of that. So we'll keep you up to date all afternoon long with what's going on in the traffic, weather situation. Ken Weaver's on the news. He delivers twice an hour and when it breaks on Super Talk 99.7 WTN from News Closet B. Always good to catch up with the headlines. Jackson Williams, Young Jackson, Y2J, Jay Willie, Reaction Jackson, Action Jackson, Truffle Butter. He is with us behind the glass, making sure that everything that comes out of our speaker sounds as good as humanly possible. Always you on the telephones. I love taking your telephone calls. I love interacting with the callers. All you have to do is give us a ring, 615-737-9986. It's what we do on a day-to-day basis. I don't know what I would do without you, and I thank you. And I hope that you feel the same about me. 615-737-9986 is the telephone number. That's also the super text line, and you can communicate with the broadcast in that fashion as well. Now, there are other ways to communicate with us. You can find me on social media platforms like the X Machine, at Matt Murphy Show, Facebook, Matt Murphy Show. I'm on Instagram occasionally, Matt Murphy Show. I'm generally Matt Murphy Show everywhere I go.
Yes,
I'm on Threads, don't go there. On Blue Sky, don't go there. Where else am I?
You don't go on Blue Sky? Brother Murphy, you would crack me up on
every once in a while I go over there to see those people. They live in a different world over there.
Oh, yeah.
What about Freddie O'Connell? And the next time he's on, I'm asking him about this. What about, he's got like 7,000 followers on Blue Sky, right?
Yeah.
He has 22,000 followers on the X Machine.
Oh, okay.
These are basically the same platform. Blue Sky is just a liberal snowflake version of Twitter because they couldn't handle it that somebody that they didn't like owned a Twitter. So, and that Twitter decided to be an even-keeled, equitable free speech platform.
Let everybody on.
Yeah, let everybody on. Let everybody speak their piece. And if they offend you, you can move on down the road because you don't have the right to not be offended by me.
Right.
At least that's the way we used to feel about it in the United States of America. I think half the country feels differently. Anyway. So, yeah, Blue Sky, I went over there and I started an account just to mess with the liberals. And I got bored with that pretty quick. So, but Freddie is on Blue Sky and he's making announcements that people need to see on social media, but he's not making them on X. And it would not, unless I'm wrong,
you'd have to do that on every platform.
Well, what skin off his nose is it to do it on the X Machine platform? I don't understand. It's like he's intentionally decided that he is not going to inform people who are on the X Machine the same information that he's going to deliver to them on the Blue Sky because, well, he doesn't like Elon Musk or something. I don't know. I don't know why. You have 3 times the people that you're reaching on X as you do on Blue Sky, yet you are only posting information on Blue Sky, on your official mayor account. It makes no sense. I'll tell you what doesn't make any sense either. The Nashville Electric Service doesn't make any sense. I do not understand why Teresa Broyles-Applin is still employed. I don't. We carried the press conference for you live, not only on 99.7 FM, but we also carried it for you streaming on our variety of streaming platforms. That is something that we would not be able to do today or in the foreseeable future for some reason, and I don't understand why. but I won't get into all of that. But sadly, for those of you watching the platform, if we play videos for you, you will not be able to hear them or see them because we've been limited. Can they hear them? I suppose you'll be able to hear them, but you won't be able to see them anymore because of some reason that has not been made. I mean, I guess it's privileged information, and I've not been made available to that information. But Jackson informs me that that is the case. So until something changes, we'll try to figure it out. We'll try to do as best we can. For everyone, whether you're watching on Supertalk 99.7's WTN Supertalk TV, that's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Rumble. Thank you to the YouTube chat over there. We love you over there. Hey, like and subscribe us one way or the other, whether we're playing you videos or not. How much does that cost, Ken?
Absolutely nothing, boys.
Nothing. Nada. Zero. Zilch. Just a second of your time, if that, to hit the thumbs up button, because I want to have more thumbs up than Chris Hand. That's all I'm saying.
How many's Chris Hand got?
I mean, I don't know, but he's talking about it all the time. He's using his children, Ken. You hear him.
Oh, that's right.
He's like, oh, my kids need shoes. Oh, my kids need clothing. Like, whatever. You know, my dog's got to eat too there, pal. So there you go. Like and subscribe. It won't cost you anything but a second of your time. This is episode 971 of our gatherings together. It's also day 381 of Donald Trump's second term as president of the United States of America. We use that just to make the liberals crazy. You can also find us on a variety of other platforms, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart, our own app, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. It is a Wednesday edition, and we're pleased that you've decided to join us. I think, although we had to cancel the podcast earlier today, that was on me. I hope and I think that Cameron will be along a little bit later on in the 5 o'clock hour and beyond. We'll also speak with Nashville Metro Councilwoman Courtney Johnston at 5:05 this afternoon in our studio.
Has she got her power back yet?
I don't know. She might be one of the, 8,000 now, Ken?
7,568.
Well, 7,005. That's just a pittance. That's a nothing. If you're one of the 7,500, know that they're very, very pleased with themselves at Nashville Electric Service that it only took them 11 days to get this far. They are so pleased with themselves that the chairman of the Nashville Electric Service Board has decided to come out and offer a thumbs-up vote of confidence for the CEO, Teresa Broyles-Applin. I wonder if this chairperson was asked to do this or if she did it on her own. No clue. No clue. It is the definition of being tone deaf that people have suffered like they have suffered. People have died in this community. People were cold for days, for weeks. People were working their butts off. Neighbors had to help neighbors we did it right here on this radio show. We were connecting people together. We were going out trying to find gas for folks. We were getting to this place and that place to make sure that people had heat. All the while, the Nashville Electric Service wants to remind you that they're working really hard and they're so pleased with the job that they're doing. Nashville Electric Service, we love us. Are your lights on yet? Well, they'll get there. Don't worry about it. Nashville Electric Service is not only, we know everyone, including Freddie O'Connell, including the board members, they know that their management is incompetent. Whether they'll admit it or not, they know. But they're not just incompetent, they're also liars. Teresa Broyles, I want to say this calmly so I don't get accused of, being out of my mind with anger or whatever. I want to say it calmly, so if this gets repeated to anyone, you'll hear it in a calm and soothing voice. Teresa Broyles-Applin is a liar. And why she chose to lie to the people that she serves is beyond me. It is the definition of the Nixon rule. Y'all know what the Nixon doctrine is? I came up with it years ago. I call it the Nixon doctrine. It is basically, it's not what you do that gets you in the most trouble. If you do something and you try to make it right, oftentimes you can get out of that. It's when people call you on what you do and then you start lying about it, That's what truly gets you in trouble. Richard Nixon did not have to resign from public office because some schmuckos that worked for his reelection campaign decided to break into the Democrat headquarters, and then he found out about it. Nixon had to resign from office because he decided to lie about it and try to cover it up. And that's not good. Well, I have no idea why Teresa Broyles-Applin has decided to lie, but she has. Am I the only one willing to call it out? Why are people so afraid to say the word liar? Why are people so afraid to call out lying when they see it?
You mean using terms like untruth?
Yes, untruth, or she misspoke.
Yeah, misspoke. That's the big one.
I love that one. Oh, I misspoke. Oh, you mean that time when you lied to everyone? Is that what you mean? Just unbelievable. So that press conference we played yesterday, kid.
Yeah.
You know, they shared that on their social media.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Nashville Electric Service did. If you go to the YouTube page today, you know what you'll find? You won't find that press conference.
You won't find that
They originally streamed that press conference live on their YouTube, and it went up on their YouTube, as our streams do. You know, we stream live, and then once the live stream is done, we post the entire show up on our YouTube page, Supertalk 99.7 WTN. Nashville Electric Service did the same thing, yet you cannot find it today. I was talking to good friend Michael Patrick Leahy, who is the editor-in-chief of the Tennessee Star, and they're doing great work over there at the Tennessee Star.
They're doing some digging.
Yeah, kudos to them because they're digging around and they're finding some great information, and we like to give credit where due. Hat tip to Michael. But I was talking to Leahy earlier today, and I'm like, where is this press conference? And he goes, well, I'll send you the minute or two that we have of it. And so I have some audio that I'm going to share with you later from the press conference that I had to get from the Tennessee Star because I can't get it from the Nashville Electric Service because they've pulled the entire press conference. Do you want to guess why they pulled the entire press conference?
Yes.
It was a disaster. That's why. An absolute
Nincompoops in the news.
What a bunch of bozos. Misspoke. Yep. NES. Well, John in Lawrenceburg said, NES, we'll leave the lights on for you because we know yours are out. You know, Alabama Power, I don't know that they still have this slogan. They had this slogan, and I ridiculed them for years when I was in Birmingham, Alabama. You know what their slogan was, kid?
What?
Alabama Power, always on. And I'm like, don't use a slogan that is fundamentally untrue.
Right. Right.
Like when I hate you the most, right? And I understand that crap happens. I understand that the power goes out from time to time. We get it. We understand that occasionally we have electrical outages. We get it. But the angriest I'm going to be with a power company is when the lights are out.
Yeah.
And so your slogan is going to lie to me when the lights are out and I'm trying to find you and I go to alabamapower.com or whatever your website is and it says right there on the top, Alabama Power, always on. And I want to punch that computer monitor in its face. Like, why are you lying? And so my slogan for Alabama Power is, our Alabama Power, always on until the lights go out. And then we're not on anymore. Until they come back on, and then we're on. NES. Yeah, she misspoke a lot yesterday. She lied about the weather report. She either lied about the weather report. I don't want to be accused of being mean-spirited. I don't want to be accused of saying things out of school. She either lied about their knowledge of the weather report or she's so completely out of touch and incompetent with her understanding of the weather report that she needs to be dismissed immediately. So we're reaching the point where you are either a complete liar or you're a complete buffoon. Either way, you don't need to be the head of the 10th largest power company in the United States of America. Okay? You are either completely dishonest or you're so out of touch with reality. Either way, you need to get the little box, go into your office, pack your personal things, get them in your car, and off you go. and go be nasty at various restaurants around town, which, by the way, it's my understanding that you have a reputation for. I've had multiple people tell me that Teresa Broyles Applin goes to restaurants and is just completely nasty to the people that she deals with at restaurants. And I could name them, but I won't. Anyway, so we'll dissect it today. Andy Ogles has a few things to say about it. He'll be on with us at 3:35 this afternoon. We'll speak to Representative Ogles about his open letter to the Alabama. I was talking about Alabama Power, to the Tennessee General Assembly regarding the desire to take over the power company itself. Jack Johnson, speaking of the Tennessee General Assembly, Senate Majority Leader, will stop by the studio at about 4:05 this afternoon, and then the aforementioned Ms. Johnston at 5:05. Loaded show, 23 after the hour. Happy to have you here. Your call's always most important. 615-737-9986. Grace Point Healthcare is a direct pay format, your primary care physician, affordable and convenient and comprehensive. They're also a veteran-owned practice, which is pretty cool, and I love that. They like to treat patients naturally whenever possible. They're located in the heart of Franklin, but available for anyone within the sound of my voice. Here's the bottom line, folks. Sadly, insurance companies take way too much time and effort in determining how doctors treat you when you have to, have your insurance company involved before payment time. Friends, Grace Point Healthcare doesn't deal with that. They are a direct pay format. That means that every decision is made between you and your doctor, and that's what it's all about, making sure that that relationship remains sacrosanct. At Grace Point, there's no long wait time. Grace Point is your primary care provider that treats the entire family from newborns to seniors. Grace Point Healthcare, modern medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. Give them a call today, 599-6868, 599-6868. Grace Point Healthcare. Go see them today and tell them Matt Murphy sent you.
Here, Mayor Freddie O'Connell's response when asked about an email a reporter says she received from Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis expressing confidence in NES leadership. That's coming up at 3:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. What's going on? How y'all doing? You doing? How you doing? You doing all right? How you doing? Y'all doing good? Jackson's got a new hair. Can anybody see Jackson's haircut? Do you have an ability to show everybody your haircut?
Brother Jackson has got a fine head of hair.
He does have a good head of hair, and he got his ears lowered, as my grandpa used to say.
Yes, sir.
Got his ears lowered the other day.
He doesn't even use any product, I don't think.
I don't think he does it. Well, why would you when you got that nice looking
hair like that?
Head of hair?
I did get a haircut today. This morning.
Yeah.
I needed it.
What barber shop did you go to, Jax?
I went to a salon.
Is it the kind they put a hot towel on you?
No, but it's the one I've been going to since I was about 5.
Oh, okay.
You went where?
A salon.
A salon.
What, you think this happens at a barber shop, bud?
I guarantee you that could happen at a barber shop. What? Why? What? Whoa. Thank you, Kim. Whoa. You smacking on barbershops?
No.
Well, you just sounded like you did.
I'm just loyal.
You don't think you could get that haircut at a barbershop?
No, because the lovely woman who cuts my hair does not work at a barber shop. She works at a salon.
And she's been cutting your hair since when?
A long time.
What if she's like the worst hair cutter ever and your hair would look exponentially better at another place, but you've never tried anyone else? You know what I'm saying?
I'm good not knowing.
What happened? How old is this lady's got to be old. What happens when she dies?
I don't like thinking about that. She's a lovely family friend. She's probably listening right now. So why don't you go ahead and talk about her death? Go for it.
Ma'am, I don't know you. All I'm saying is when I ask a fella what barbershop he goes to and he tells me that he goes to the salon, and you said it that way too. You didn't say salon. You didn't say, you know what? I think I would have reacted better to beauty shop.
Beauty shop? What am I, 100?
No, but how is
What am I, your age?
Excuse me. How is going to the salon different than going to the beauty shop?
It's the name of it's called, I don't remember the name of the place, but it's like called something salon.
You've been going there since 5. She's a loyal family friend, probably listening to the show, and you won't even give this poor woman a little plug.
Shout out Jeannie.
What's the name of her place?
I don't remember. I know where it is.
Do you? You know where it is? I bet it's over there in Old Hickory, isn't it?
No, it's on the county line of Davidson and Wilson, right there in Mount Juliet.
Oh, on 70?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I know where she is. I think I need to head on over to the salon.
Next to the tax place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know exactly where she is.
Exactly.
I know where
right across
she is.
from Sir Pizza.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Jeannie. Way to go, Jeannie. I'm sure you have many females waiting to get their hair done, and Jackson. I mean, it's one thing. That's fine. Go to the salon. But then he's Ken, did I hear it wrong? He you wouldn't get this kind of haircut at the barber shop. Kind of cutting down barbers, man.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, see what I did there?
It's called Bon Allure.
Who called you and told you? Somebody called you. Somebody texted you. Who texted you?
Nobody. I looked it up.
Get ready to say this like for some recent press conferences.
This feels.
I misspoke.
I bet Teresa Burrows Appling gets her hair done at the old Bon Allure or whatever the hell it's called, too. That's good. I like it. Well, your hair looks great, Jackson, one way or the other. It's 32 after the hour at Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, still 7,500 without power, 11 days out from the winter storm. The death toll, fortunately, has not risen. It's still bad, though, 25 statewide. Mayor Freddie O'Connell, during the briefing today, was asked to respond when a reporter says that she received an email from Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis expressing confidence in NES leadership.
I expect we'll continue to talk to them. Again, they're not daily operationally involved. We're focused on those daily operations.
That's Mayor O'Connell referencing the Electric Power Board. Congressman Andy Ogles, meanwhile, demanding the state take over Nashville Electric Service. MNPS, that's the school board here in Nashville, voting unanimously to change school start times starting next school year. High schoolers going to get a slightly later start, 7:25. Elementary kids beginning at 8:10, then middle schoolers 8:55. District officials say the update shortens the gap between school tiers and keeps operations running smoothly. U.S. Supreme Court clearing the way for California to use its new congressional map in this year's midterm elections. The Democrat-drawn map approved by voters last fall could give the party up to 5 additional House seats. Meanwhile, Ryan Ruth was sentenced to life in prison for attempting to assassinate President Trump. Here's ABC's Peter Haralambous.
Before handing down the life sentence, Judge Eileen Cannon directly addressed Ruth and described his actions as evil and deliberate. Last year, Ruth unsuccessfully attempted to defend himself during his federal trial, and the jury convicted him after 3 hours of deliberations. A judge recently appointed a lawyer for Ruth who plans to appeal. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Complete stop-and-go traffic eastbound South Loop over to 65. We've got crashes in the way. This one is in Rural Hill, 24 eastbound before Bell Road, then 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
I want to say a personal thank you to Robert from Better Water LLC. Robert was out at the house earlier today. You know, we got the new home. And we're, putting things together, making sure that everything is as right as it should be. And here's a wonderful thing that happened to me. So Robert checked our house. He came in and he checked the water and he, did some testing on the water for a variety of different things, chlorine and bacteria, sulfur, E. coli, obviously, and all of the rest. And he came back and he said, Murphy, outside of, and he also checked for hardness of the water. And he said, Murphy, outside of, he said, I don't say this often, but I've just got to tell you, outside of putting some filters at your sink level so that, for cocktails or whatnot, you can have purified water, distilled water. He said, I think you're good. You have a great water system. You have good water levels. He said, I don't say this often. He said, but I don't feel like we should sell you something that you perhaps do not need. You don't need a water softener for hard water because your water's not hard. You don't need something to prevent the chlorine from coming in because you don't have chlorine in the water. And I thought, what a refreshing attitude. What a refreshing company. For 55 years, they've been in business. And here's the great thing. They're helping people all over this community with their water issues, whether it's bacteria or sulfur or E. coli, like I mentioned, or chlorine or hard water, and you need water softeners. But what a wonderful business model that they'll tell you if you're A-OK. They're not going to charge you for something you don't need. But they treat your water, and for the most part, most of us in our listening area, you have some issue that Better Water can clean up for you. So think of it as a big Brita water filter for your home. Better Water LLC. Not only a good water company, not only a wonderful organization, but good people and trusted friends and neighbors. Give them a call today at 615-355-6063. Schedule your appointment and tell them that Matt Murphy said thank you for their honesty and the way that they do business. BetterWater.com. That's BetterWater.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 20 minutes until 4 o'clock. Thank you for being with us. Thank you to Representative Andy Ogles for everything he does to represent the 5th Congressional District of the great state of Tennessee. And he joins us on the Murphy Show hotline this afternoon to talk about some activity going on in Washington, D.C. But before we get to that, we want to talk about activity going on in his district and in the metro area of Nashville, Tennessee, as we discuss the power outages that linger 11 days after the ice storm. Congressman Ogles, good afternoon. Welcome in, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, first off, thanks for all that you guys do in educating the public and also being a resource. But, as we've seen with the, Nashville is always in that transition zone. Do we get snow? Do we get ice? More times than not, we get ice. And obviously the consequence of a lot of ice is down branches and in some cases power lines. And unfortunately, NES was ill prepared for the inevitable.
I mean, you've clearly defined where you stand on this. I've read your open letter to the General Assembly prescribing what you think is the solution for this. But I want to get into that. But, I mean, what are your constituents telling you? Are you hearing from any of them, Andy? I know that you have folks that are on the NES system. Are you getting response from them over the last week or so?
Yeah, I mean, we literally just received a call. I mean, I was on the House floor voting and just got back, and it was a family of 8 with kids, and they don't have power. So we got the family's information. We reached out to NES and asked that they make them a priority because of the fact that they have vulnerable, children in the household. But the thing that people need to understand is, look, I understand that you have forces of nature, but NES did an audit back in November of 2025, November 20th to be specific, and their own internal audit they graded themselves, gave themselves a failing grade on vegetation management. They knew they had a problem. And what did they do? Nothing. They were more focused on DEI training than they were vegetation management. In fact, they cut their budget. So when I look at Williamson County, when I look down in a rural county like Murray County, where you're going to expect to have lots of damage from storms because it is rural, we didn't have those problems because our power companies were doing their freaking jobs. But NES has gone woke. And so now you have roughly 90,000 people, 90,000 to 100 without power. You still have lingering issues, and it was all preventable. And their own audit cites the fact that they knew they had a problem.
Well, they knew, and now they're trying to cover it up by lying to the people that are directly impacted. I mean, obviously, yesterday's press conference was an absolute disaster. Teresa Broyles-Applin should have been fired days ago. Sadly, she remains employed. Hopefully, she will be gone sooner rather than later. But what do you believe, and I've read some of your ideas, what do you believe is the prescription for success moving down the road, Andy?
Well, obviously, NES needs an overhaul. And so if they're going to self-determine, which means they're going to actually enact policies that are good policy management, vegetation management, if they should follow their own recommendations from their own internal audit, then maybe there's a path forward, but not with this current president, CEO, director, whatever title it is. But that being said, the Tennessee Law 7-52-112, so the mayor appoints the city council, my understanding, confirms. So there's a mechanism by which the council could intervene. But let's say, for example, there's not. The Tennessee General Assembly is the one who's going to issue charters. They could essentially step in the same way they might take over a school system, could step in and say, we demand changes to the NES board and to the leadership. But they absolutely failed. And ladies and gentlemen, this cannot be understated. I mean, you have people whose lives were lost because of poor management, and they knew they had a problem. I literally was driving around downtown Nashville and kind of that Vanderbilt area this last week, and there was just branch after branch laying on power lines, branches overhanging power lines. You come down to Murray County, which is rural, doesn't have the budget and the manpower that Nashville has. You don't see that kind of nonsense. They literally just came through my road, and they came onto my property and asked permission. Hey, can we cut these trees down because we're afraid that power line may be affected? I said, sure, go ahead, right? But they were being proactive. November 20th, 2025, we posted it on my social media. Their internal audit cites the fact that they have inadequate vegetation management, and it will lead to prolonged outages. And where are we today? Prolonged outages, and people have died. Enough is enough. It's time for accountability. She needs to go. The board needs to go.
So you're calling on the General Assembly to exercise, and I'm reading from your letter here, its constitutional authority to take immediate steps to, number one, assume direct oversight of Nashville Electric Service, and then you go on to talk about dismantle the current governance. I mean, do they have the ability to immediately take over oversight?
I'll leave that legalese up to the attorneys, but clearly action has to be taken. And, unfortunately, I find myself in that situation of having to be the person that calls for action.
Mm-hmm.
But these are my constituents. They're calling my office begging for help. Unfortunately, I don't have a seat on the board of the electric company because I would be raising absolute HELL if I did. So what I can do is bring light to this and call on those like the speaker, like the lieutenant governor, and ask them to step in because, again, clearly this is a state jurisdictional issue. It also is a local jurisdictional issue, but I can certainly do my job and ask for accountability, use my team and the resources here of my office to conduct the investigation like we have and give that information to the respective authorities. And so I'm here to serve the General Assembly and help them make sure that this never happens again in Nashville. We never have a prolonged outage. And I get it. Mother Nature can be tough sometimes, but we get ice every freaking year.
Well, yeah, and I don't know of anyone, no one that has called this radio show, no one that experienced outages. I don't think they begrudge outages. We understand that it happens. We understand that, things happen, Mother Nature happens. But the prolonged nature of this, the preventable nature of this, the fact that as you well know, Andy, they'd staged less than 200 linemen, and we're hearing that Charlotte, North Carolina had 18,000. Atlanta, Georgia had 10,000 linemen. We knew that ice was coming. All of us knew. We reported on it, and yet, sadly, NES leadership, this is not against the line workers. God bless them. They're working their butts off, but there just weren't enough of them on the front end, and like you mentioned, there was just not the tree trimming and the vegetation mitigation that needed to happen prior to this event.
Absolutely. And again, this is not something that you can fix overnight. So this is months, if not years, of lack of accountability and simply doing the job that they're tasked to do. And the president herself has said, like, well, she didn't want to mess with the beautiful trees. I got news for you. when you have a big freaking branch hanging over a power line, you got to cut it.
Right.
We had a giant oak tree, again, right next to a power line. And as much as it broke my heart to see them have to cut on that tree, guess what? They cut on that tree. And so it is what it is. And so, look, this is a serious situation, and I want to underscore lives were lost because of this storm and because NES was ill prepared, and we can't just brush over that. And so, look, she needs to go. There has to be an accountability mechanism, and here's the problem with the way NES is currently structured. There isn't a whole lot of direct accountability, neither to the mayor, to the council, or to the General Assembly. So that structure needs to be changed. So whether it's the shareholders, the members, in other words, the folks who are serviced by NES, and keep in mind that you have individuals outside of Davidson County that are on the system, and they have no representation on that board. And so, again, it's time to revisit how NES is structured and make sure that this never happens again. And look, like you said, the forecast, they were talking about this storm for like 10, 14 days.
Mm-hmm.
We knew it was coming. Now, my kids were hoping for 2 feet of snow, but instead we got 2-3 inches of ice, and which is the worst case scenario.
Right.
Again, we knew the storm was coming. They did not have individuals and equipment pre-positioned. And like you said, look at Atlanta, look at Charlotte, look at those communities around us, how they prepared, how they managed their systems. And again, look at little old rural Murray County. We didn't have these problems. We lost power for a day. I totally get it, and I totally understand. But guess what? Within about 12 hours, 15 hours, we were up and running again. Why? Because Murray County was prepared, because Williamson County was prepared, because Atlanta and Charlotte, et cetera, was prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville was not prepared.
Well, I appreciate the call. We're speaking with Senator Jack Johnson coming up in the next 15 minutes. And we'll talk to him about your recommendation and see what he has to say as Senate Majority Leader. Obviously, I know leadership is looking into, if not direct takeover, then certainly regionalization of the system so that the woke in Davidson County are not the sole decision makers in what obviously impacts the more red communities on the exterior of the metro area. While I have you in the 2 or 3 minutes that we have left, Andy, I want to ask you about the 11 appropriates bills, I guess it is now, that have been passed. We seem to be moving the ship in the right direction. It is slow sledding, but I know you can't be happy with some of the cuts that weren't in the package. At the same time, is this the best we could expect in the short term to try to get us where we're trying to go with regard to budgeting and 12 separate appropriations bills?
Yeah, unfortunately, as one of the most conservative members of Congress, this doesn't go far enough. Obviously, we have to deal with the Senate, but the problem is like in this current package, there was money that was put in there by the Senate. Let me be clear, and that they sent back over to us and kind of forced us to vote on. Was money for refugee resettlement. The American people have spoken. Even CNN is reporting the fact that, I think it's roughly 86% of whites don't like the way this is being handled as far as immigration and IDs to vote. African Americans, Latinos, overwhelmingly, there's unity on this issue about refugees and voting and citizenship. And so it's one of those unique kind of perfect storm, if you will, where we can do the right thing and restore our republic. And look, if you and I go, and I'm getting off task a little bit, but if you and I go to Mexico, we go to France, we go to Germany, we don't have any inherent rights. But some of those folks on the left immediately want to grant those to illegal. So, but that being said, is we have to do more. We have to continue to cut. But part of this is teaching this system up here. It's kind of muscle memory of, we can do more with less. We can create government efficiency. And when you look at Minneapolis in particular and look at all the waste, the fraud and abuse, we're talking about billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in abuse and fraud that's taking place all over this country. And if we just fix that, that's money that comes back to our local communities, that goes to education, that goes to our veterans, goes to those individuals that truly deserve the type of assistance that the federal government can provide. But it's a tough nut to crack. This is a big ship. It turns slowly. I liken it to the Titanic all the time. That again, it turns slowly. But if we don't continue to turn, if we don't continue to correct course, we know that there's a collision ahead and it's going to be catastrophic. So fortunately, I'm close with the president. I have a good working relationship with the president. And what I can tell you is he truly cares about the future of this country. And we're going to continue to fight to cut. But it's going to be a long slog. And, I think every day I look in the mirror, I get a little grayer, but it's because this issue right here is going to determine the future of our country and the country that we give to our children.
Final thought, I'm a new Murray County resident, Andy. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'm now a part of Murray County. I live in Mount Pleasant, and we're watching as Mount Pleasant makes some decisions about how they're going to utilize different water resources in the aftermath of this vote by the Columbia City Council at the urging of this mayor, Chaz Mulder, to raise rates by 150%. I mean, I understand that we need some action with regard to water resources, but this seems like an insane tax increase on the citizens, not just of Columbia, but all of Murray County and anyone utilizing Columbia Power and Water. Any thoughts on this local issue?
Yeah, so, they're spending a ton of money. I mean, part of it is, the kind of that power grab. They're trying to build, they're anticipating, in my humble opinion, a type of regionalization in the future. So the more individuals, the more infrastructure they have, the more control they'll have over that regionalization. So what they're doing is they're literally passing that cost onto the current users of water. But like you said, a huge and tremendous expense. Obviously, southern Middle Tennessee, we have issues with water long term. There's lots of ideas how that's going to be corrected. The governor, the General Assembly, even locals are talking about that, whether it's the Duck, is it the Tennessee River, is it Cumberland River, et cetera. But that being said, it's an exorbitant tax hike and unfortunate burden on the consumers there in Murray County. But I've never seen a liberal that doesn't like to increase taxes, and Chaz is just another example.
I look forward to the next year, considering I think he's going to try to run against you, isn't he?
Oh, no, he's definitely running. He's been raising tons of money. But, it is what it is. I think.
I heard that laugh, by the way, Andy. I heard it. That's good.
I have worked hard. We work very hard on constituent services, and I try to be very available to the community. I mean, I've been holding town halls, to the point where Antifa came to one of them in Spring Hill, but that's okay. But that being said, is at the end of the day, I'll prevail. But it's because I've been working hard and will continue to work hard. But look, if somebody wants to run, he has a right to run. And I think at the end of the day, I think when people see his policies versus mine, it's going to be clear. And I've beaten every one of my opponents by double digits, but I take every race seriously. I work hard. I'll continue to work hard. And so I obviously ask for everyone's support. But at the end of the day, right now, it's not about campaigns. It's about the people of Nashville. It's about the fact that they don't have power. It's about the fact that we have a long-term problem with NES that has to be corrected. So this never happens again. And we must get back and end with that, is because NES has a choice for its future. And real people are affected by that. And if they don't change, I would call on the General Assembly to step in and step in harshly. And if I had a magic wand and could do it myself, I would. But at the end of the day, they need to be restructured. There needs to be more direct accountability so that when times like this occur, they're well prepared instead of, and keep in mind, in 2024, NES had 100 DEI trainings. Think about that for a minute. Every 3 days, they were doing some sort of DEI training. What they should have been doing is trimming trees.
Cutting down trees. Amen. Or at least branches. Representative Andy Ogles, always good to catch up. Thank you so much for your time. We'll do it again soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care. There's Representative Ogles joining us for a few moments. Chaz Mulder, the current mayor of Columbia, will be running as a Democrat. Now, Andy's got some primary competition in the form of Charlie Hatcher before then. 57 after the hour. I'm very late, as usual, on Super Talk 99.7 W10.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, still 7,426 without power. 11 days out from the winter storm. The death toll standing at 25 statewide. Mayor Freddie O'Connell was asked by a reporter today to respond to an email the reporter says she received from Metro Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis, stating that she has confidence in leadership at NES.
I'd say right now what I'm most confident in is that we've got more than 1,800 line workers out there looking to get power back on. We have been in daily touch with NES leadership just to make sure we're getting the best data out there possible for people to be able to plan and regroup with their lives and their homes. And we're focused on getting the power back on right now, and we'll revisit the issue as we go forward.
Yeah, and just in terms of the NES board, are you planning to have some conversation with them?
I expect we'll continue to talk to them. Again, they're not daily operationally involved. We're focused on those daily operations.
Congressman Ogles, as you just heard, in a letter to the General Assembly, is urging state lawmakers to take control of NES, and he questions the accountability of this mayor-appointed board that governs it. Starting next school year, Metro Nashville Public Schools to operate on a new set of start and end times. The biggest shift moves high schools to a 7:25 start. Elementary schools at 8:10, middle schools at 8:55. MNPS says the changes follow months of study, and they're meant to support student health and keep the system efficient. California's Democrat-friendly congressional map is officially in play.
The Supreme Court did not explain its decision in a single-sentence order, but will allow California's new congressional map to go forward. California Democrats, and specifically Governor Gavin Newsom, pushed the change in the map as a response to Texas and other GOP-led states redrawing their maps at President Trump's urging to give Republicans a better chance at retaining a majority control of Congress. Last year, the Supreme Court declined to block Texas's new map as well. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A federal court in Florida has sentenced Ryan Wesley Ruth to life in prison for his foiled 2024 assassination plot on President Trump. Recently, court-appointed defense attorney Martin Roth on What's Next.
The judge may have mistakenly applied the federal crime of terrorism enhancement, and that will be probably the leading issue on appeal. I will be filing a notice of appeal in this case.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, this is Pastor Al, and join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
Rowell Hill got a crash 24 eastbound before Bell Road. In Robertson County, a stalled vehicle 24 westbound past Maxey Road. Williamson County, Franklin got a crash reported 65 southbound at Murfreesboro Road. Back here in downtown Nashville, Talbot's Corner, crash reported 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. I'm Ken Weaver.
All right, here we go. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Pleased you've decided to join us, whatever time you're able to give us. We're certainly appreciative. It is a Wednesday, February the 4th, episode 971, well on our way to 1,000. Here's the lineup. So we got Courtney Johnston, Metro City Councilor for the city of Nashville, will be on with us in the 5 o'clock hour to talk about her thoughts on the obvious failures of Nashville Electric Service. That is on the way. We expect Cameron Smith of the Tennessean will be here as well. And right now, as we speak, we are joined in studio by Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson to talk about a variety of issues, not the least of which the failures of the Nashville Electric Service. Jack, always good to talk with you.
Good to see you, Matt.
Everything going well?
It is. Busy day at the Capitol.
Before we get into NES and all of that mess, we had a very special visitor into the state, huh?
We did. A very special visitor, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary of HHS under the President Trump's administration, was in town promoting I think he's doing a tour into many states, especially those that have really made an effort to embrace the Make America Healthy movement, which we have done in Tennessee. A number of things we've done that working with the Trump administration. Because as I said at the press conference, I had the opportunity to speak briefly. We do a lot of bragging about Tennessee, and there's a lot we should and can brag about in terms of our debt, our taxes, and our business climate and everything. One area where we have some work to do is with the health of Tennesseans. We are not a healthy state. When you look at infant mortality, obesity, diabetes. Now, I'm like you. I believe you own your body and you can put whatever you want to in your body.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to eat chocolate chip cookies all day and drink soft drinks, then that you have a God-given right to do that. But when it comes to things like SNAP benefits and using taxpayer dollars, you should be using those to buy healthy food and access to health care in some of the rural areas, all kinds of things we can talk about that we're doing in Tennessee to at least give people the opportunity who want to try to live a healthier lifestyle to be able to do that.
We like fried chicken. I mean,
I had fried chicken for lunch.
We love fried chicken. Did RFK eat fried chicken with you for lunch?
I didn't. There, one of the reporters asked a question. It was very funny, and you can watch the live stream of the press conference if anyone would like to go online. Myriad of places where you can go watch it. But after the comments were made and Secretary Kennedy spoke, one of the reporters said, "You've talked about the importance of eating healthy. President Trump is known to like his diet sodas and McDonald's. Have you had conversations about your concerns?" And Secretary Kennedy stepped up to the mic and he just said, "To no avail." So he's had the conversations, but he hasn't, I don't think, had much influence on President Trump.
Well, you obviously you posted about this 2 hours ago, and your post on the X machine I'm reading says, "Proud to welcome Senator Kennedy, or Secretary Kennedy, I should say, to Tennessee as we partner with the Trump administration to advance the Make America Healthy Again agenda and expand access to quality health care in our rural communities. Together, we're making meaningful investment to build a healthier future for every Tennessean." And it's very well spoken. A prominent Tennessean has responded, and I just want you to speak to this directly. John Rich has written and says, "Senator Johnson, how many of your Republican members take money from Big Pharma and influence the banning of dispensing ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine during the COVID outbreak in Tennessee. Will you commit to making these over the counter?
Well, I haven't seen that post from John, but I absolutely think that ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine should be available over the counter, unless there's a medicinal or medical reason why they shouldn't be. As to who takes money from whom, that's all publicly disclosed. You can go and look at anyone's financial campaign disclosure as to who has contributed to their campaign. That's all public record and easily accessible. But I think the fundamental premise, which I agree with, is you should be able to make health decisions for yourself. And we know from COVID that there was a lot of misinformation out there. And we're not happy with the way the Biden administration was trying to force vaccines on people. We've talked about that at length in terms of vaccine mandates. And that's an abomination. No government should be able to force you to take an injection on anything to keep your job or anything else.
I wasn't here in Tennessee during COVID. I was in Alabama. I remember getting angry at Alabama lawmakers because they weren't acting as quickly as Tennessee lawmakers.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that because it's you. I'm saying that because it's honest.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't pretend that you guys did everything perfectly.
Oh, nor would I.
Because it was such an unforeseen event and unprecedented event. But it feels like, and John's a friend.
Sure.
It feels like some are trying to look back and expect perfection amongst people who were dealing with something that had never happened before.
Well, and I appreciate you acknowledging that. And I've done a pretty deep dive on this, as have others. And I'm very proud of compared to other states in terms of opening up our economy and businesses and trying to get back to normal. I think Tennessee was one of the quickest states to do that. We absolutely made mistakes and have learned from those mistakes. And God forbid something like that happen again. A lot of things will be done differently. But, we can learn from those mistakes. And you had medical providers and some in the quote-unquote medical establishment that were vilifying ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right.
The hydroxychloroquine is always a tricky one.
Yeah.
There's an extra syllable in there.
There's somewhere in there. But again, it comes down to personal freedom and liberty. And I think that those liberties were infringed upon, and I'd say more by the federal government than the state government. But absolutely, you should be able to have access to whatever medication you want within reason. I mean, there's things that are harmful out there, but I believe in liberty.
Senator Johnson, what do you say to the people who are as frustrated as so many of our listeners are about Nashville Electric Service?
Several words come to mind. A tragedy. People lost their lives, and some maybe didn't lose their lives, but they suffered immense harm and pain, suffering. I think of elderly. I think of people with small children who are stuck in their homes, had no heat, had no electricity, and the misery that thousands, tens of thousands of people in various parts of the state, but certainly most heavily concentrated in Metro Nashville. Something has to be done. There are a lot of conversations taking place. We were out last week, excuse me, because of the ice storm. But lots of calls, lots of text messages, a lot of frustration, a lot of calls from constituents. The NES service area does come down into my Senate district. There are parts of the city of Brentwood. I've spoken with city officials there. I've talked to a lot of constituents, county officials that represent that part of the county, talking about do they want to continue to be serviced by Nashville Electric Service? A lot of questions about what can we do. We're looking into that from a legal standpoint. Interestingly, not to pivot, but, we did something similar to what many are proposing for the NES board with the Nashville Airport Authority.
We did.
Several years ago. And we were sued. Nashville sued over that and gained an injunction. And so that law was not allowed to continue to be in effect. It's pending now before the Tennessee State Supreme Court. So there is literally pending litigation right now that is not identical to this situation, but it may inform that. But something has to be done. Something has to be done with the leadership and the board there. And we're looking into what authority the state has to reconstitute that board, dissolve it. Do we have that legal authority? And so, those conversations are ongoing.
Well, and I feel like and I thought about the B&A airport, the law that was powered, and the attempt to regionalize the representation on the board. And the argument is that the footprint of the airport is solely in Davidson County. And so my argument would be, and I've thought about this and just kind of, just brainstorming it with you, that the footprint of NES extends beyond Davidson County.
That's exactly right.
And so now if I live in Rutherford County, if I live in Williamson County, if I live in one of these affected communities, if I am not satisfied with the service of the board and I want to do something about it, the only way I can do something about it is to vote. Well, I can't vote on the mayor. I can't vote on the Metro Council.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The appointing authority, very similar, again, to the airport authority with NES, is the mayor. My constituents that live in Brentwood, Williamson County, don't have a vote in the Nashville mayor's race. And so when you have a service area, yes, the footprint of the airport is there, but did you know, and I think my number's very close to being correct, around 32% of the traffic that goes in and out of the Nashville airport is from Nashville. Almost 70% is from other counties and even other states, but certainly the bulk of it. And the number 2 county in terms of people that utilize that airport is Williamson County that I represent. And so why would the mayor of Nashville have sole appointing authority? Yes, the footprint is there, but the service area in terms of the people who utilize that airport is far more broad than that.
Agree.
That's why we reconstituted it. So certainly that is one avenue that we could look at relative to the NES board and who is appointing that board, and to make sure people that are being serviced by that board have some accountability to the people that are appointing it. Maybe the city of Brentwood mayor or Rutherford County mayor, somebody can have some appointing authority there, so there's some accountability.
I asked this question in a slightly different way to Senator Marshall Blackburn earlier in the week, and I'll ask you, Senator Jack Johnson. I'll ask it this way. Were you the decision maker with regard to how the CEO of Nashville Electric Service has acted, what we know about past actions, what we know about setup, what we know about after the event? Do you believe that she has the confidence of the people that she serves to continue as CEO of Nashville Electric Service?
I do not. And the way you phrased that question, were I in a position to call for her termination, I would do so. I'm not in a position, other than just being a citizen, and I'm a member of the General Assembly. At some point, when you have a situation that devolves as badly as this has, that there has to be accountability. And I would say that about a business. I'd say it about a private sector entity or a governmental entity.
Well, and I call it, and I know you've had a busy day, but I said earlier today that it's the Nixon doctrine. I don't know if I coined the phrase, but I was the first one that I know to think of it, that it's not what happened in the Watergate break-in. It's how Nixon reacted to it that got him in trouble, that caused him to resign.
That's exactly right.
So, people can forgive mistakes. I mean, you just mentioned it. I talk about COVID-19, and you say, obviously, we made mistakes. It was an unprecedented situation. We look back, we see the mistakes that were made, and we look forward. I haven't heard them admit a single mistake.
No, nor have I.
And some of these mistakes are pretty obvious. Second, and a follow-up to that is, not only are they not admitting mistakes, they seem to be saying things that aren't true. Like she defended the tree mitigation by saying, no, our budgets have gone up. Well, I'm looking at your actual report, and your expenditures are going down by $7 million.
They went down.
So it just begs a lot of questions. And frankly, I think Mayor O'Connell's got to make some pretty quick decisions. Otherwise, he's going to lose the faith of his constituents.
I think so, too. And I know he has appointed a commission, I believe, of some sort to look into it. And that's, I suppose, a good thing. But you have here what sets this apart. It is what I would call a quasi-governmental entity. And it is a monopoly. Utilities are monopolies. Mm-hmm. When you bought your home in beautiful, bucolic Mount Pleasant, Tennessee, did you get to shop for electric providers?
I did not.
Did you get to choose and say, no, I want this one or that one? No, you get what you get. And when that's the case, we call these, I believe the legal term is regulated monopolies. Mm-hmm. So they are monopolies. We acknowledge that. I guess over time we've determined it doesn't make sense to have 18 different electric lines running to your home, and you get to pick which one you want. And so we have the Tennessee Public Utility Commission. We have different other organizations that are there to provide oversight for these. And clearly, NES has not lived up to the expectations of its ratepayers, and there has to be accountability for that.
Senator Jack Johnson with it. Can you stick around for a few more minutes?
Sure.
So Jack Johnson's going to talk to us about the state of the state. It was the final state of the state from Governor Bill Lee. Discuss the governor's priorities and the priorities in the General Assembly for Jack. We'll do that next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, Efficient Heating and Cooling. Let me tell you something about Efficient Heating and Cooling. They're not a monopoly. There are a lot of heating and cooling companies out there, but I would recommend Jeff Eddy and Efficient. And I love him. I've a long time believed in the way that he does his business because I know Jeff, I know his teammates, but I can't sing the praises of Roger enough. Roger came out before the storms hit. We were having trouble. We moved into the house and the heater was having a little issue or two. Roger came out and handled some of those issues and continues to handle those issues in a way that's going to protect us from having to get an entirely new unit. They know that we don't want to do that, and they're going to repair it as much as they can, as best they can, and make it right again. And they've done so with Efficient Heating and Cooling, and I absolutely love this about them. You can trust when they tell you it's time because they have exhausted every possibility, because they understand that this is a major expense for homeowners, right? At some point, though, you're going to have to replace them. When that comes, they're an Elite Pro partner with Rheem, and they can recommend the right unit for you and your family. Call 615-784-4424, 784-4424, or efficienthvac.net, efficienthvac.net. Hey, folks, Matt Murphy. Accurate Mortgage is your go-to company when it comes to buying a home. How do I know? Well, it just so happens I just bought a home. And I put my money where my mouth is because I've been talking about Accurate Mortgage for a long time. And I've been telling Mike and his team, hey, as soon as I get a house, y'all knew who I'm running to. I'm running to you because they're so good. They're so personal. Look, mortgages are mortgages. Interest rates are interest rates. And those are very similar or the same for most mortgage companies. It's that personalized level of service. It's making sure that they tell you when they feel like you're entering an arena that might not benefit you, especially when it comes to refinancing for the purpose of drawing down high-interest credit card debt or high-interest debt, generally speaking. You need to make sure that you're dealing with somebody that's going to be completely honest with you, that's not just doing a mortgage or a refinance just to do a mortgage or a refinance. Accurate Mortgage is that team. They're your hometown team, and I trust them. With my mortgage, I did, and you can trust them with yours. So whether it's a refi or if you're looking to buy a new home, great time to purchase property. Accurate Mortgage, NMLS 129944. Rates and terms subject to change. Equal housing lender. Visit Accurate Mortgage today at AccurateMTG.com.
Hear from the Tennessee Senate Majority Leader on the possibility of the state taking over NES. That's coming up at 4:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, a few more minutes with Senator Jack Johnson. I joined in progress. I call it jipping. I joined in progress the State of the State address from a couple of nights ago as we watched Governor Bill Lee in the assembled halls of the Tennessee Capitol deliver his final State of the State address. What did you think of that State of the State address, Senator Johnson? And what did you think of the governor's stated priorities during his final year in office?
Well, I thought it was his best State of the State. I've attended all 8 of them now. This governor's had 8. And keep in mind, I became majority leader at the same time Governor Lee came into office, and so did House Majority Leader William Lamberth. We were all brand new to our jobs. And part of my job is to kind of be the liaison between the state Senate and the governor's office. So we've worked very, very closely together. And, when he started rattling off some of the things that have happened during his time in office, tornadoes, Christmas bombing and floods in Waverly, a pandemic, did I say tornadoes? Now a major ice storm. And, there have been a lot of things that have been thrown at him. He's been a great governor. He and I have butted heads on a number of occasions, and that's to be expected. But we've always had a really good working relationship. And I can tell you this: he cares deeply about our state and the people of the state. I thought it was good. I thought it was a nice balance of nostalgia, kind of looking back on, which is appropriate, some things that we've accomplished, some really major things. Looking ahead, as I see it, I don't speak for the governor, but my take is there's several things that he wants to focus on. One, going back to Secretary Kennedy's visit to Nashville today, health care and trying to make Tennesseans healthier. A big piece of that is the Rural Health Transformation Act, which I talked about in the press conference, working with the Washington to try to make health access. That's one of the challenges we have is we have, a lot of our state is very rural, and they don't have access to health care like we do here in Middle Tennessee. Need to improve upon that. Obviously, roads and infrastructure. We passed the Transportation Modernization Act. A lot of good progress coming from that. The governor's proposed putting another $400 million into the road fund to help expedite some of the road projects. That's important. That's something I hear about from constituents all the time is traffic and what we're doing to fix that. And then the final thing is education. Since Governor Lee has been in office, we have gone from a bottom 25 state to solidly a mid-upper 25s. Depending on the ranking, we're number 13th in 8th grade math, and I may not have that exactly right. We're number 8th in reading. So we've made significant headway in our public schools, and then, of course, we passed a very, very successful universal school choice plan, which the governor would like to see expanded, and I would too.
What do you expect that expansion will look like?
So what we passed last year was 20,000 scholarships. If 75% of those were utilized, then it would automatically expand by 5,000, subject to appropriation. Well, we had 40,000 applications for 20,000 spots in the first 24 hours. Mm-hmm. So we hit 100% utilization immediately. And so the statute calls for an expansion of 5,000. The governor would like for that to be 20,000 to effectively double the program, and that's what he has proposed in his budget. So we'll have those conversations with members. So I hope we're able to do that, and the governor has appropriated the necessary funds to do it. We want parents to be able to pick the education that's best for their child.
After meeting with RFK Jr. today, what fast food are you getting going home? What are you doing?
I just have a hankering to go have baked chicken and vegetables.
You said you had fried chicken.
I did.
Did you have fried chicken after you saw RFK Jr.?
I did. But he stressed protein. He said, eat protein, and that's all they were serving in the cafeteria at the Cordell Hall.
That skin and breading is a protein.
But I will tell you this. I've never met Secretary Kennedy in person before. Number one, he was very nice, very, very nice. And I encourage people to go and watch his comments. Mm-hmm. He did a really good job at the press conference talking about some things they're working on with the Trump administration. And we want to be a good partner with him in doing that. But he is very fit. He is a very physically fit individual.
I saw your photo with him, and he looks to be a very bronze fellow.
Yeah, he does. Yes, I
mean, I think that's fair. I don't say that with any. I'm not leading in any direction. It was an observation.
Yeah. But he was very.
I think
very
you're
nice.
a tanned man. and you look white by comparison. I mean,
well, he had a darker complexion, but couldn't have been nicer. And we're very grateful that he came to Tennessee, and he cares about Tennessee and Hills.
Well, we're thankful that you are so responsive to the listening audience and responsible to the voters, and we appreciate you being on with us every time you are.
Thanks, Matt.
There's Senator Jack Johnson. Back in a moment. Time for news on Super Talk.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast. Traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, progress being made on the power outages. Now under 7,000 and under 8,000. And we're 11 days out from the winter storm. Death toll stands at 25 statewide. And moments ago, Tennessee Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson speaking with WTN's Matt Murphy on the possibility that the state take over NES from the mayor-appointed Electric Power Board at Metro.
A lot of questions about what can we do. We're looking into that from a legal standpoint. Interestingly, not to pivot, but, we did something similar to what many are proposing for the NES board with the Nashville Airport Authority several years ago.
Well, that move is tied up in the courts for now. Meanwhile, a reporter at today's Metro briefing said Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis expressed in an email that she has confidence in leadership at NES. Metro schools adjusting their daily schedules beginning in the 2026-27 school year. High school is going to start about 20 minutes later at 7:25. Elementary schools at 8:10. Middle schools at 8:55 under the newly approved plan. And in our nation's capital, the Supreme Court says California can move forward with its newly redrawn congressional districts in the 2026 midterms. That helps Democrats. And the man convicted of plotting to shoot and kill President Trump at one of his Florida golf courses has been given a life sentence. Recently, court-appointed defense attorney Martin Roth says he's filing an appeal on behalf of Ruth.
He hopes that his actions do not influence other people or motivate other people to involve themselves in a political act of violence.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Right now, I-40 westbound is a parking lot due to some utility work there at Highway 70. That's 40 westbound. Elsewhere, we've got a crash now, 440 eastbound past Nolensville Pike. Rivergate, a crash, 65 northbound at Vietnam Veterans. Rowell Hill, a wreck, 40 eastbound before Bell Road. Cedar Hill in Robertson County, 24 westbound past Maxey Road. A crash in Franklin, 65 southbound at Murfreesboro Road. Over here on the South Loop, 40 eastbound right there at 4th Avenue. And then Tusculum, an injury wreck, Nolensville Pike just north of Old Hickory Boulevard. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know, I'm what Bill Lee. This is his last year as governor. That mean he was reelected after COVID, right? Yeah, I mean it was in 2022, right?
Yeah. 4-year term.
2022. Okay. I'm just I'm amazed at anytime Bill Lee is referred to as a good governor, and I've really I've taken no umbrage with Governor Bill Lee. I mean, maybe I disagreed with a few of his proposals, but none. I mean, I know that in the immediate aftermath of Covenant School that the governor's office was tinkering around with red flag laws, and we didn't like that, and the people of Tennessee didn't like that, and he says his position on it was that he was just asking the question whether or not it was time to have that discussion, and he clearly got the message that it was not. So I might have disagreed with him about that. I'm just fascinated with the number of people, and maybe it's a very, very vocal minority that come out of the woodwork and talk about how awful a governor Bill Lee is. And I always ask why. Why do you believe that Bill Lee was such a bad governor or is such a bad governor? And invariably, I mean, almost universally, it is about COVID and the aftermath of COVID. And look, I'm not a Pollyanna on this, and I'm not here to defend Bill Lee during the COVID era because I don't need to. I wasn't here, first and foremost. Secondarily, the voters spoke after COVID loudly and clearly as to whether or not they felt like he had failed them, and they forgave him whatever mistakes he made during the COVID era as governor of this state. I know this. I know that in Alabama, which is as red as they come, we were looking to states like Tennessee and, you know, even more so Florida, but certainly Tennessee was another example of a state that opened up more quickly. I'm not here to relitigate it. I'm fascinated with the number of people that demand that Bill Lee is a bad governor. And 5284 just jumped on and said, I didn't call you a moron. What are you talking about? 5284 said, how can he or any American call Bill Lee a good governor when he literally illegally spied on every Tennessean? And I said, tell me more. And this is the response I got. This year happened during COVID. Billy placed a stay-at-home order unless you had to go to work for whatever reason, which I was one of those people, and I remember having to drive around with a piece of paper saying that I was allowed to be a free man in my country. At that time, Billy was illegally spying on every Tennessean's phone, seeing where everybody was traveling and where they were. Tell me how that happened. I don't know what you're talking about. This did make the news. Everyone just wanted to ignore it and still does, and nothing happened after he trampled on every one of our rights. Okay, so I'm a small minority. Nobody called you a moron, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you okay with a politician electronically spying on it? I'm not familiar with what you are talking about. I'm not familiar with any sort of electronic monitoring of individuals' phone devices. Please tell me about that. I was not here. You can call me, 615-737-9986. I'd love to hear from you. You can use the same number that you're texting on to call me and explain it to me. Actually, I guess I should not be very surprised. You still back Trump, even though he said the Epstein files were a hoax and denied its very existence. Donald Trump never denied the existence of the Epstein files. Number two, he was referring to how the media treated the Epstein files as a hoax, and he's exactly right. Now that Donald Trump was not directly implicated in any of the, 5 million files that have been dumped on the American people's lap, the media will leave it be. The media treated this as a big deal and they thought they could use it to get Trump, which is why Trump referred to it as a hoax, and most thinking people understand that. So, 5976 says, Billy was tracking our cell phones. It came out as a presser, and expressed his disappointment how many of us were out and about. I don't know. I'm not unfamiliar. I don't know if it's true or not. I know that Tennessee opened up more quickly than others. I don't know what tracking technology you're referring to. I would say this: if you own a cell phone, you can expect that someone's tracking your whereabouts. And no one's forcing you to own a cell phone. All you have to do is throw it in the trash and you will never be tracked. But if government entities are tracking you actively, then we should do something about that. And I'm all in favor of that. So we're on the same page in that regard. I don't know anything about Bill Lee tracking during that time. But once again, the point being is that anytime I bring Bill Lee up in a positive fashion, I get a myriad of commentary on the super text line. Nobody wants to call me and talk to me about it. I'm willing to talk to you about it. I don't have to argue with it because I'm not here to defend Bill Lee. You can have whatever position about Bill Lee you want. The same thing happens with Marsha Blackburn. Marsha Blackburn wins every election she takes part in by well over 60% margins. Primaries and general elections. Marsha Blackburn, unless something dramatic happens, will overwhelmingly win the gubernatorial race. Now, I like John Rose a lot. John's a great guy, and I'm not discounting his candidacy. I like Monty Fritz. Monty Fritz is a nice guy. I'm not discounting his candidacy. I'm telling you my prediction for what is going to happen in November, unless something dramatic happens between then and now. But every time I bring up Marsha Blackburn, there's a brigade of people that hit me up on the super text line, never on the phone lines, always on the super text line, explaining to me that she's a rhino and she's not a real Republican and she's not this or that or the other thing. The purity conservatives come out of the woodwork, the 100%ers, I call them. That if I agree with you on 96% of all of this, then we're friends. But the first time I disagree with you on anything, suddenly I'm a horrible human being. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Doesn't make a lot of sense. And, oh, by the way, I don't know if 0478 is being facetious or not, but the mark of a good conservative governor is leaving me alone, isn't it? The mark of a good conservative is getting out of the way. Don't pass more laws. Don't pass more regulations. Don't pass more legislation. Leave me be. A good conservative governor, make sure the roads are working as they should. Make sure the electricity stays on as best you can. Make sure that our health and our safety, the public's safety, is guaranteed through the Tennessee Highway Patrol and other agencies. And otherwise, leave me be. Let business conduct business and let people live in a freedom-loving environment. That's what it's all about. Oh, 764 says I should talk to Phil Williams. Well, I would, but Phil Williams has blocked me on his social media platforms, which is why we refer to him as the cowardly Phil Williams, 0764. So when you refer to Phil Williams, make sure you refer to him as the cowardly Phil Williams of News Channel 5, who only talks to people that agree with him. 49 after the hour. Why is Mike in Old Hickory holding? Is he just wanting to listen to the radio show? Is he not aware that he lost a bet on the ice storm, and so he has to sit out on the sidelines until February the 15th?
14th.
Well, the 14th. So the first time he can call in is the 15th, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, he can sit there and listen. Brian is next up. Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
I'm great, Brian. Thank you for calling.
Well, I'm driving down the road, and I listen to what you're saying about Bill Lee and Marsha Blackburn, okay? And I don't live in Nashville, so I don't have no opinion, but I want to say this to all the folks listening that live in the Nashville area, all right? If you got any facts to back up what you're saying, you need to call Matt. Don't go on the super text line and start saying this, and this unless you have the facts. Matt Murphy's doing his job. He reports the facts. He's true to his word. If he has a gripe about a candidate, he's going to have his say. But don't sit there and text him without the facts. If you don't have the facts, then don't even bother calling him. Plain as day. Because Matt's doing a great job. Keep up the good work. and I'll hang up and listen to what you have to say.
Well, what you'll hear me say, Brian, is thank you very much. I appreciate you, and
check cleared.
I would like to announce for the record that I have a brother by the name of Brian, and that was not him. My brother would not sing my praises in that fashion. My brother would trash me, drag me through the mud. He would not say the nice things that Brian in Florida said about me. I appreciate you, Brian. Thank you so much. And obviously, as Jackson mentioned, you got my Jackson. It's 2026. I Venmo'd him. Come on, buddy.
Checks in the mail.
I don't even have a checkbook anymore. I do it electronically. It's 51 after the hour on Super Talk. Hey, Jackson, do you have the super text line pulled up? You look at the number of people that are suggesting that the last caller, Brian, was either A, on the payroll, or B, relation to me, like my son. I don't have a son, to my knowledge. But if I did have a son, I'd want my son to be Brian. Thank you. Anyway, hey, I want to talk to you for a moment about my friends at the Glock store. Man, oh, man. So the Glock store, I mean, they're not pulling a pity party here, but boy, oh boy, like a lot of Nashville neighbors, the Glock store has been out of power for the better part of the week. Well, the power finally got turned back on, and then it went off again, and now it's been turned back on again. Well, the retail showroom is open for business. The range sadly closed as we speak, but it'll be ready to offer some incredible opportunities for you to get a little range time in the indoor shooting rooms, Neverlane's rooms at the one and only Glock store. Deals include the new Glock GTL2 weapon lights for less than $155. The 43X magazines, they're under $19. The Savior Specialist range bags in the limited edition Desert Night and Tiger Stripe camo, they're in stock and they're on sale, and there's much, much more. They've got a lot on sale, and the lights are back on, at least on the retail side of things. They want to see you at the one and only Glock store. And yes, when you pre-order your new Gen 6 Glock, you can still mention my name, and you'll get a free extra mag when you pick it up. All you have to do is mention my name, whether it's the 45, the 17, the 19. These are great weapons, great guns, and they're available to you at the Glock store. My friends at the Glock store are all powered up at the retail side and ready for business. The Glock store, minutes away from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere.
Hear what Tennessee Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson says about taking over NES, or at least how the board that governs it is appointed. That's coming up at 5 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. There's Ken Weaver in News Closet B. My name is Matt Murphy. I host a little radio gathering we call the Matt Murphy Show on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 5676 says, hey, in defense of Marsha Blackburn, she's not in the Epstein files. Well, that's the truth. And let's see. I got a lot of folks that want to comment on Governor Bill Lee. He's final. Well, I mean, here's the great thing is that for you Governor Bill Lee haters out there, you have an opportunity to vote for a new governor this year. And there are at least 3 announced candidates to choose from. I'm assuming there will be more. There might be more already. But there is Senator Marsha Blackburn, who served in the General Assembly for a length of time, served as a House of Representatives member, now as a United States Senator, and she would like to be your next governor of the state of Tennessee. There's Congressman John Rose, who currently serves in the 6th Congressional District in the state of Tennessee, looking to be the governor, and Monty Fritz, who serves in the General Assembly and is looking to be your governor. I don't know if there's another candidate of your choosing, but if you don't like Bill Lee, then you have an opportunity to choose a better fit for you and your family. For me, I think the governor has done a fine job since I've been. I got into the state in November of 2021, so I missed the meat of COVID. I understand that still chafes the hide of some of you. I get it. I understand why. So you'll get a chance for a clean slate. When are the primaries? June or August? I don't know when the primaries are. There's June or August. I want to say August. Courtney says August. And then, of course, the general election this coming November. Let's see. Quick timeout. News coming up. Metro Councilor Courtney Johnston is in studio with us. Cameron will be along in moments. We'll get her perspective on Nashville Electric Service. We'll find out exactly what, if anything, the council has to do with the appointment of the board. It was my understanding that they approve the appointments by the mayor. They give the thumbs up on those. We'll find out if she has any confidence that the board has selected the right CEO. Obviously, the mayor selects the board. The council approves the selection of the board. The board then selects the CEO. That would be Teresa Broyles-Applin, who has miserably failed at her job, at least since I've known her, which has been the last 12 days. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 5 o'clock. Back in a moment.
Five o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, still about 7,000 without power, 11 days out from the winter storm. The death toll stands at 25 statewide. And Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson telling WTN's Matt Murphy show state lawmakers are discussing what to do about Nashville Electric Service. He mentioned maybe changing the way its governing board is appointed, similar to the law passed to take over the Airport Authority Board.
Certainly, that is one avenue that we could look at relative to the NES board and who is appointing that board, and to make sure people that are being serviced by that board have some accountability to the people that are appointing it.
However, that move on the Airport Authority Board by the state is tied up in the state Supreme Court. Meanwhile, Mayor Freddie O'Connell, asked to respond today when a reporter said Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis expressed in an email confidence in the NES leadership.
I'd say right now what I'm most confident in is that we've got more than 1,800 line workers out there looking to get power back on. We have been in daily touch with NES leadership just to make sure we're getting the best data out there possible for people to be able to plan and regroup with their lives and their homes. And we're focused on getting the power back on right now, and we'll revisit the issue as we go forward.
Yeah, and just in terms of the NES board, are you planning to have some conversation with them?
I expect we'll continue to talk to them. Again, they're not daily operationally involved. We're focused on those daily operations.
Metro Nashville school leaders have approved new start times beginning in the next school year. High schools will move 20 minutes later, starting at 7:25. Elementary schools shift to 8:10, and middle schools to 8:55. MNPS says the changes are designed to better match students' sleep needs and respond to community feedback. And the man convicted of plotting to shoot and kill President Trump by lying in wait outside one of his Florida golf courses has been given a life sentence.
As she sentenced Ryan Ruth to spend the rest of his life in prison, Judge Eileen Cannon referred to his actions as evil. Ruth was convicted last September on 5 counts, including attempted assassination of a presidential candidate and assaulting a federal officer. The 60-year-old hid in the bushes of the Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach and pointed his SKS rifle toward a Secret Service agent as Trump was golfing nearby.
As Stephen Portnoy reporting. California's new congressional map, crafted by Democratic lawmakers and approved by voters, will be used in this year's elections after the Supreme Court refused to intervene. The ruling comes as both California and Texas adopt competing maps aimed at boosting their dominant parties. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Westbound 40 is still like a parking lot through Bellevue for some emergency utility work there at Highway 70. In other parts of the metro, we've got a crash. 440 eastbound past Nolensville Pike. In Goodlettsville, a wreck. 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Over here on the South Loop, 40 eastbound at exit 210C. 24 eastbound before Bell Road, and in Laverne, 24 westbound before Old Hickory Boulevard. In Robertson County, stalled vehicle 24 westbound past Maxey Road. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show. Glad to have you with us. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thanks to Representative Andy Ogles and Senator Jack Johnson for joining us previously in the show. If you missed any of that, you can check it out on our website, 997WTN.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. That's on the television side of things. TuneIn, Spotify, iHeart. We're all over the joint, and obviously on your radio at 99.7 FM. Always a good time to speak with Courtney Johnston. She is a Metro Council member in the city of Nashville. She joins us in studio today to talk about the aftermath of the storm that hit Metro Nashville and the surrounding communities. Gosh, it feels like yesterday, but I guess it's been 10 days now, 11 days now since this storm hit. Courtney, thank you for being with us. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
You got power?
I do, finally.
How long?
We were talking, I can't remember if we got it back Friday or Saturday. I think it may have been Friday. So it was a solid 6 days.
Yeah, when you don't have power and you don't have a clock and you don't have a, it's hard to keep track of all of that, right?
Yeah. Well, I was a little distracted dealing with, trying to help everybody. So it was just sort of an
I thought you elected officials had some sort of bunker that you went into during times of disaster where you get all of your electricity and food and drink and everything you need down there.
Mm-hmm.
No? Not so much?
No. Yeah, no, the bunker was my bedroom that we had, a little space heater blocked off, and there's no bunker.
Well, I'm glad you got power back.
Yes, me too, thank God.
How's your neighborhood? How's your district?
Decimated. So we have a pretty, it's a beautiful tree canopy that has, it's been beat up. There's a lot of it on the ground right now, and a lot of it's still sort of dangling. So we've got a lot of work to do. Well,
I know we'll get into it a little bit later on, but it occurred to me when she said, "Oh, we're ahead of schedule on tree trimming." I was like, "Well, I bet you're." I mean, when the CEO Teresa Broyles Applin said, "Oh, well, we're ahead of schedule this year on tree trimming," I was like, "I bet."
Yeah, now we really are.
God took care of that for you, I suppose.
True. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Explain to me structurally, before we get into some of the ins and outs of this particular disaster, NES is a municipality-owned electrical company.
Mm-hmm.
So Nashville owns NES.
Correct.
Explain to me how the CEO is selected, how the board is selected, how all that happens.
So the mayor appoints the board, the council confirms the board, just like any of our other boards and commissions, and we have a ton of boards and commissions. It's I don't like the system, to be honest with you, but that's what we have.
Would you describe the appointment or the confirmation, not the appointment, the Metro Council, is it perfunctory? Is it mostly yeah? I mean, do you recall any time where the Metro Council said, "No, we don't think this person is suitable"?
It happens very, very, very rarely, and it's typically not based off of any sort of substantive reasons. Really, it's usually politically motivated when someone doesn't like someone, and so it's it's sort of like political warfare type stuff. But very, very rarely is someone not confirmed. If the mayor. And this is both terms, so this was under Cooper as well. When the mayor puts forth someone, they're typically confirmed by the council with very little discussion usually. And so for the most part, they're political appointments. They're not, So the mayor appoints, the council confirms, usually with very little discussion. And so there's the board. Mm-hmm. The board hires the CEO. Okay. The CEO runs the organization.
So, is it a simple majority vote for the Metro Council?
Yes.
For the confirmation?
Yes.
Okay. So, even if there were concerns about a particular candidate, you just have to have a majority of the council in order
Correct.
to get the confirmation.
Yep.
So it's basically an appointment with and the Metro Council kind of signs off on it.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the performance?
With this?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
Tell me, just give me your kind of 50,000-foot view of all of this.
Well, it's electricity is something that you really shouldn't have to think about. And so it's also something that we knew we were going to have outages. we knew that this was going to be an ice storm. So we were anticipating having outages. Were we anticipating day 11 or whatever day this is to still be dealing with it? Absolutely not. Very early on, I could tell something was wrong. I was surprised that in our updates that we get, and when I say we, the council gets from our liaison, I was surprised that we hadn't scaled up to the level that we should have even preemptively. I was surprised at just how we just did not seem to be prepared, even though we said we were prepared. I was surprised at how we were communicating and not giving the level of communication to people that I felt like this was way worse than what we were actually telling people. And I continued to tell them, listen, you guys got to tell people the truth, because bad news is better than no news. Because people have to be able to make informed decisions about their safety and the safety of their families. And if they need to make long-term lodging decisions, right? If they need to say, listen, my parents live, in North Carolina and we need to go there for a week, that's what they need to do. You can't, so it was just really, really frustrating. It has been very, very frustrating. And so slowly but surely, some council members were frustrated from the very beginning, but slowly but surely, other council members and then even the mayor finally started expressing frustration. But something was very wrong to me from the very beginning.
I want to get into some of those particulars in a moment, but if your fellow counselors and yourself made the decision, and maybe you communicate that you're not comfortable or satisfied with the performance of NES, what can you do about it? Or is it solely, what can the mayor do about it at this point? Can anyone force the CEO to be fired?
So that's a really good question, and I think that I was listening to Senator Johnson before. It's like, so they're trying to figure out what they can do. I don't know what we can do. I think we could probably vote to remove board members. The board could fire the CEO. I don't know. We can't fire the CEO, I don't think, as the mayor, or I don't think that we have that power. The board has that power.
Well,
we could legislatively ask them to do that. We could vote, legislatively have a vote of no confidence, but I don't think that we have the power to actually fire her. Only the board does.
And I'm dealing in hypotheticals here, but does that, for anyone else, does that make sense? And this just me and you talk. Does it make sense? So we elect. Let's just deal with Davidson County, because we can talk. We can expand this out and talk about the other affected counties and how they have zero say in any of this.
Right.
But just Davidson County for a minute. I elect Courtney Johnston as my Metro counselor, and for whatever reason, I voted for Courtney, but then I also voted for Freddie. I don't know why I would do that, but let's say I did, and I elect him as my mayor, and he's my mayor, and you're my counselor. Well, that's the only line I have to my representation. That's the only ability that I have to have any say in whether my power goes on or not, or whether my power goes off or not. And those that I elect, I call you, and I say, Courtney, you need to do something about this. I call Freddie, and I say, Freddie, you need to do something about this. And what I'm hearing, and I'm not yelling at you about it, I believe it, but does it make any sense that the mayor of Metro Nashville can't fire that CEO? He's the only elected official that has a say in this. He appointed the board.
Yeah.
And if for whatever reason the board decides to dig their heels in, and we had the chair of the board today say, oh, I've got full confidence in the CEO.
Yeah, I saw that email.
What are you talking about?
I agree with you. And I don't know. The mayor may have the ability to do that. That's what I really truly.
That's more of a him question.
It is a him question. I think it's a charter question. But I think that's another problem with this whole setup with this board. who has the regulatory authority over them? I mean, you know,
I might be asking the wrong person, and I don't mean to put you on. What does the board do?
Well, right. Well,
what do they do?
They are the oversight authority, right?
Why aren't y'all the oversight authority?
You don't want us to be.
Why not?
I don't. Well,
you couldn't do worse. I mean, look who they hired. They hired an incompetent. She is an absolute lying incompetent.
Yeah, I don't. It's just not a good. To me, it's just not a good system. I mean, I called the Tennessee Public Utility Commission because I thought, okay, that has to be the regulatory authority that could come in and do an audit, can do an investigation, find out what went wrong, what sort of whatever.
Let's go.
Yep. And you know what they said? We have no authority because they are not a publicly traded utility. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This does, what does that have to do with anything? Apparently it has everything to do with anything. And so he goes, you are, and he's a constituent. And he goes, it's a municipally owned.
So
and
I mean,
thought,
and you,
oh my gosh, this is just insane.
Y'all hear my frustration. So it's a municipality owned system.
Right.
And so the system has failed the constituents. Mm-hmm. And so we go to the elected officials and we say, hey, Mayor O'Connell, hey, Courtney Johnston, hey, rest of the council, y'all need to do something about this. And at least from the council standpoint, and maybe not the mayor, maybe so, they're like, there's not a lot we can do. The board has to do it. Well, who are these people? Where are they? The only person that we've heard from the board says that they have every confidence in the world that Teresa Broyles-Applin can do her job, when it has been clearly demonstrated over the last 11 days that she can't do this job. The press conference yesterday was a disaster.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering why she hasn't been fired yet and who is responsible for not doing the firing. And I guess it's the board. I guess.
I mean, the board can. To me, I think I want to get the legal opinion from Metro Legal to look in the charter to see who does have the authority to do this, because I really don't know, and I don't want to go over my skis and say something wrong. But this is again another problem with this. I just
it reminds me of the school system. It reminds me very much of the Metro Nashville school system.
Well, and that it's very, very similar in that the only people that can fire the superintendent of schools is the school board. That's a fact. So it probably is the same. But if I had to guess.
But at least those school board members are elected.
True.
In this case, it's an appointment authority, and maybe Freddie has the ability, and we'll find out from his office whether he has the ability, because I would think if he has everybody wants to play nice. Everybody wants to pretend like we have to. What did she say yesterday? That we'll have an after action report. Oh, good Lord. I mean, do we need?
Yeah, this after action and this, internal audit and whatever. I've said this several times. I'm like, that's like telling your kid, here's the belt, go spank yourself. That's just nonsense, right? I mean, someone else, an outside agency, authority, whatever, NERC is an agency, needs to come in and do that. But I'll say they had a risk management that is published, that was referenced by the media. Mm-hmm. It was published November the 25th. It's online. And I printed it out. It's right here. That identifies kind of a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with. And maybe even the least of which, of course, not the least of which, but the trees is part of it. And a lot of that's been handled.
Well, but they,
at this point,
this past November, and you're holding it there, they identified the outside risk assessment was that the lack of tree trimming was a major risk to the system. They knew that last November.
Yeah. But there's several things in here. There's a lot of things related to reliability. There's a lot of IT things. There's several things that need to be dealt with, and so there's a lot of. I'm very, very frustrated. This is just, and it's not something that I've had to look at. This shouldn't be something that I have to look at. We ought to be able to trust that this is being dealt with because we pay our bills and we pay them on time and we pay them a lot of money. It's like $2 billion a year in revenue that they're pulling in. They're not an underfunded organization. I'll say that.
I just would love to know and maybe, I'm not wagging my finger at you or anyone on the Metro Council. Maybe I should be. I would love to know, what are the criteria for selecting board members to the Nashville Electric Service?
I don't think there are criteria. I think you have to live in Davidson County probably, and you have to be a registered voter.
And
probably.
What is the job description of a board member? Because it feels when everything's great and the sun is shining and it's 72 degrees outside and the electrical power is on and everybody's happy, I bet it's real easy. I bet I could be a board member on NES. But when the poop hits the fan, it's time for people to step up and act like they are the leaders that they were appointed to be. And I just don't see a lot of that leadership happening. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. 23 after the hour. Courtney Johnston's with us. She's with the Metro Council. We'll be back in a moment. We'll be joined by Cameron Smith coming up in just a couple of minutes. If you have any questions, 615-737-9986. It's Super Talk. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. And, if you dedicated yourself at the beginning of the year in 2026 to losing some weight and you've had trouble getting it off, maybe you're doing everything you feel like you should do. You're eating right, you're exercising a little bit more, but boy, oh boy, you've reached an age where you just can't get it off. My grandpa used to call it your haunches. You can't get it off your haunches. You can't get it off those trouble spots. That prevents you from looking your best. What about Contours LLC? Friends, have you not made the call yet? You need to make it today to Contours LLC. I'm going to give you the number in a moment. You can look them up online, but better yet, call Keith, Stephanie, and the rest of the team and let them speak to you about the $99 Belly Buster special. That means you go in, and for $99, you are introduced to the red light therapy. It's non-invasive. It doesn't hurt one bit. It doesn't take very long, and it works. I lost 2.67 inches around my midsection in the first visit. 2.67 inches in one visit. If you don't lose 2 inches in your first visit, your visit is free. How about that? Plus, they've got great packages available for those in your family that need to lose some weight. It's for guys, it's for gals, it's for everybody. It's Contours. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960 or online at contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com.
Hear what the General Assembly might do about Nashville electric service. Coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Super Talk 99.7 WT in a few more moments with Courtney Johnston. She is a Nashville Metro councilor. So let's just put a pretty bow on this as to how we understand what we can do from here. What are your questions, and what can you do, not just for your constituents, but for the greater area, Davidson County? And then I'll ask you a follow-up about whether or not there needs to be better representation on the board. But, I mean, what, if anything, are you planning to do as a Metro councilor to get some answers to some of the questions we're posing?
Well, right now, I am trying to take care of the people that are in my district that don't have power. So I am still trying to triage at the moment. But I do want to try to figure out what power we have to do an investigation into what happened and who has that authority, who the best person is to do that. And I personally don't know the answers to those questions because of the way that we're set up. If I was to say, let's do this investigation, they don't necessarily have to comply. So it has to be someone or an entity, an agency, or some sort of authority that can force that.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell said I have it on good authority that there's going to be a blue ribbon commission, and they'll have a task force, and I'm sure they'll impanel a very powerful effort to get to the bottom of this. Do you have faith in that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know how truly that's going to go. What I was more looking for is for an agency that has expertise in the distribution of power and policies around such. Someone like NERC that can come in, that knows what they're talking about, that can come in and look and take a deep dive into what happened and how they operate, and to see this is what you did, and this is what you're doing, and this is what you're doing wrong, and this is why this happened, and this is why this was these critical failures. That's what I'm really looking for, and where they have to comply with that. So I don't know where that goes because I truly don't know. This is such a wonky way for this to be set up.
Agreed.
Who has the authority to do what? I don't know. Just like the state government is going, we don't know what authority we have. They're looking into it. So I think that's kind of where everybody is who has the authority to do what? And once we figure out who has the authority to do what, then we can figure out how to move forward. And so that's kind of where I am. But
my electricity is a monopoly. Your electricity is a monopoly. The people that live outside of Davidson County that have NES, should they not have some representation on the board?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
They currently do not.
Correct.
But you've, as a Metro councilor, you feel like there needs to be a conversation about figuring out a way to regionalize in some fashion so that if I live in Rutherford County and I've got NES, I live in Williamson County and I've got NES, I mean, I should have some elected official that I can call and say, hey, this isn't working for me. Shouldn't I?
Yeah, there's got to be some way to make that fair for those people that are not Davidson County residents and are not represented in that way to have some sort. Yes. Yeah, that's not fair.
I appreciate you so much because, Courtney, I don't pretend that any of us have any of these answers, but I appreciate you digging. I appreciate you sleuthing. And most importantly, I appreciate you speaking directly to the people. A lot of Metro Council will not. You always will. And I'm thankful for that.
Well, this is a terrible, terrible situation. It never should have happened. And I'm the first one to tell you I don't know all the answers. But I will definitely try. And I think the whole point is to figure out what happened wrong and to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. And nobody's looking for perfection, but God knows this is out of bounds.
Final, and I know I'm late on the news, Ken, I apologize, but final question. for you, and I've asked this of Senator Johnson, Senator Marsha Blackburn, if you were in the decision-making capacity to make a decision on the future of the CEO, have you seen enough that you believe that you need new leadership at NES?
I think regardless of anything, the public has lost so much trust that there's no question that a change needs to be made.
Representative Courtney, or I should say Counselor Courtney Johnson.
President. Let's just go there.
President of the Matt Murphy Show, Courtney Johnston.
Yeah.
And she will be president until I remember that she has a T in her last name. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes right now in Nashville. Got 6,699 NES customers still without power 11 days out from the winter storm. The death toll is at 25 statewide. Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson telling WTN's Matt Murphy Show the General Assembly is discussing what to do about NES. He says maybe it's giving stakeholders outside of Nashville a say in appointing NES's governing board rather than it being left up to the mayor exclusively.
Maybe the city of Brentwood mayor or Rutherford County mayor, somebody, can have some appointing authority there so there's some accountability.
During today's Metro briefing, a reporter told Mayor O'Connell that she received an email from the chair of the Electric Power Board expressing total confidence in NES leadership. The MNPS board, the school board, voting unanimously to change school start times starting in 2026 in Nashville. High schoolers get a slightly later start at 7:25, with elementary students starting at 8:10, middle schoolers at 8:55. District officials say the update shortens the gap between school tiers and keeps operations running smoothly. Families can expect more details as MNPS works through transportation planning. U.S. Supreme Court clearing the way for California to use its new congressional map in this year's midterm elections. The Democrat-drawn map approved by voters last fall could give the party up to 5 additional House seats. And Ryan Ruth has been sentenced to life in prison for trying to kill President Trump.
Before handing down the life sentence, Judge Eileen Cannon directly addressed Ruth and described his actions as evil and deliberate. Last year, Ruth unsuccessfully attempted to defend himself during his federal trial, and the jury convicted him after 3 hours of deliberations. A judge recently appointed a lawyer for Ruth who plans to appeal. Peter Haralambous, ABC News.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Bellevue, westbound 40 is like a parking lot at times due to some emergency utility work right there at Highway 70. We've got a stalled vehicle 24 westbound past Maxey Road in Robertson County. We've got a crash 440 eastbound past Nolensville Pike. Goodlettsville, a wreck 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Rowell Hill, a crash 24 eastbound before Bell Road. And over here on the South Loop downtown, a crash 40 eastbound at exit 210C. I'm Ken Weaver.
Hey, friends, Matt Murphy for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Did y'all know that the Wellness Institute of Nashville brings you nincompoops in the news now? They sponsor the trophy, certainly, and the crown. Currently, Jackson, are you not currently the crowned champion of the Wellness Institute of Nashville's nincompoops in the news? I think you are. One way or the other, they do that really well. You know what they do better than that? They help you get pain-free in 2026. Friends, if you are hurting, wherever you're hurting, get with Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the rest of the team at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. I'm getting over there. Dr. Mitchell, if you're listening to this radio show, then know this. Matt Murphy's coming to you because I've moved a lot of boxes over the last couple of weeks, a lot of book boxes. I have way too many books, and I have too janky of a back. And now I've wrenched it, and I need relief. And I know where relief is. It's at the Wellness Institute. Whether it's spinal decompression, whether it's hydrowave therapy, that's incredible therapy that is only found at the Wellness Institute. It's very important. First and only office in the state to have the hydrowave. Ask them about it when you make the call that so many have made to the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Go to painisbad.com. That's painisbad.com or 615-246-5009. 246-5009. Friends, I'm telling you, if you are in pain, don't rely on surgery. Don't rely on needles. Don't rely on pills. Rely on Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley, and the Wellness Institute. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A great conversation with Courtney Johnston. I said the T that time. She's a good friend of the show, and you see what I do to her? I don't mean to, but I keep saying Johnson. It's not Johnson. It's Johnston. For goodness sake.
We have some business to attend to.
Do we now?
You never announced the winner of Nincompoops yesterday.
I didn't. I do know who the winner was.
It was me.
It was not.
It was definitely Matt.
What?
Go back and look.
What? Oh, so you know the winner?
Yes, it was me.
Well, then I thought Ken was the winner.
No.
No, I think Ken was the winner.
No, I beat Ken.
No, there's only 2 days. You won. You destroyed it day one, Monday.
And then I beat y'all again yesterday.
I don't know that. I mean, I know I was not the winner. I thought it was neck and neck between you
It
and
was
Weaver.
not. I feel like I had Weaver.
Is Ken back there?
Ken, you back there?
I am, boys.
Weaver, Jackson, I think, is trying to steal defeat from the jaws of victory, or victory from the jaws of defeat. I always figure, I can't figure out how that phrase goes. He's trying to steal your win from yesterday, Ken.
Well, Brother Jackson has been, since the show began and the discussion over his haircut, he has been acting a lot like these recent news conferences.
I think it was Jackson doesn't. I'm
not sure we have transparency. From Brother Jackson here.
Ken, I feel like you and I need to vote on having an after-action report.
You can go back and look. I just did.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I got it pulled up right here.
Uh-huh. So the question then is, why did you ask me who the winner was?
Because I like to hear you say Gives me my jollies.
What was the final?
My jollies.
What was the final tally?
Me winning, Weaver losing, you extra losing.
What? Extra losing? I mean, I'm just asking for a vote total there, Jackson. All right, that's fine, Jackson. If it's that important to you, you're the big winner of Nincompoops in the News from yesterday. I'll tell you who the big winner today. Well, my laptop computer's not a big winner. My apologies. Just went off on me again. Jackson, stop what you're doing. I've given you the win. You don't have to count them up. You know what you do have to do?
What?
Hit the music.
Nincompoops in the News.
That's right, ladies and germs. It's time for Nincompoops in the News. And if my computer doesn't work, I'm not going to have a nincompoop. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Matt Murphy. Ken Weaver's over in News Closet B. Jackson Williams, Lion Jackson Williams. He of many nicknames. He of the beautifully coiffed hair. He recently off a victory in Nincompoops in the News. Is in the control area, and Jackson, I suppose, gets to decide who goes first in this edition of Nincompoops. Would you like our Cameron, our pseudo guest, our good friend of the show, to go first? He just settled in. I don't feel like
I'm not courteous like that. You said how's your laptop doing?
It's off right now.
Okay, we're going Murphy, Williams, Weaver, Smith.
Why are you going to me first?
Because your computer's off and I want to watch you struggle.
All right. My Nincompoops in the News are the Olympic Organizing Committee in Milan, Italy. And while I do not have this story in front of me because my computer will not grant it to me, I did have it pulled up, that apparently there are massive power outages and they don't even have the hockey rink ready yet in Milan, Italy. Jackson.
Is it the NES board? Is it the same people controlling?
I think maybe it's the same folks that are controlling the power here in Nashville, Tennessee, that are controlling the power in Milan.
Did they say it's an unprecedented event?
That's right. This has never happened before. What, the Olympics? No. So they held the first. They're holding some events before the opening ceremonies because they have to do that to get. I mean, these group events like hockey and curling. They have to shift them because they have so many events. So regarding these events, the curling activity started earlier today, and then the lights went off. And in Milan is obviously not ready for prime time. Reminds us of Sochi, Russia, where they had massive power outages in Sochi. The Olympic Village, where the competitors stayed, was not ready. None of the electrical outlets worked. And apparently Milan, Italy is very similar to that. They do not have a functioning hockey rink as we speak.
Do you remember during the COVID Olympics with the cardboard beds?
I do not. What?
They made cardboard beds in the Olympic Village, and if more than one person was on it due to Olympic Village fraternization?
Yeah, sure. Yep. Fornications, I think, is the F word you were looking for. Mm-hmm.
They would break.
Because they're cardboard?
Yes.
Well, that's a given.
I mean, some of that heavy cardboard's pretty good.
That's fair.
So were they handing out, they regularly, we see the stories over the years when the Olympics comes around about the amount of condoms that are handed out in Olympic Village because they know.
Well, this year they weren't having it because of COVID.
Apparently, the Olympic Village every 4 years or every 2 years, when you count Winter and Summer Olympics, apparently the Olympic Village becomes like the Villages down in Florida, which there is rampant activity going on in the villages, and STDs abound down there.
Like an Applebee's parking lot in Maryland?
Oh, my goodness. Is that the one that you did yesterday?
Yes.
Oh, now that I think about it, I think you might have won. So my nincompoops are the Olympic organizers in Milan, Italy, for their inability to get ready. It only comes around once every 4 years for the Olympic Winter Games. You would think that they would be ready, and they are not. There, I did that without my computer working.
That was pretty good.
That was good work.
Thank
good
you.
work on you.
Thank you. Who goes next?
Me.
Jackson.
Naked man arrested after allegedly drunkenly wielding knives in Pittsburgh area doctor's office.
What?
Naked man arrested after allegedly drunkenly wielding knives in a Pittsburgh area doctor's office.
Thank you.
A man is now facing several charges after he was accused of destroying a doctor's office with knives while nude. On Monday, North Bell Vernon police officers were called to Check Eye Group on Broad Avenue for reports of a naked man who was causing a disturbance and was armed with knives. Dispatchers were told that the man was stabbing walls, furniture, and knocking down displays. Several of the employees inside the building fled into other rooms, locked the doors, and called 911. Once police arrived, they found 54-year-old Darnell Howell wielding a large butcher knife in one hand and a steak knife in the other.
Goodness.
Police ordered Howell to drop the knives, and after several commands, he placed the knives on a display table. The officers...
Here you go.
Sorry about that.
The officers...
My apologies, officer.
The officers attempted to take Howell into custody, but during the arrest, he was combative, swearing profusely and screaming that he was going to die. Howell evaded officers and ran out of the office down the street. Ultimately, police were able to corner him, and he was taken into custody without any further incidents. After he was taken into custody, he was found to be bleeding from his hand and had several superficial cuts on his stomach. Police investigated the scene and found that several shelves were damaged. A couch had more than a dozen puncture wounds. Pictures had been knocked over, and a pair of athletic shorts were found on the floor. Wonder who those could be. The witnesses said they feared for their lives during the incident, and one of the doctors said it was incredible that no one was hurt. It's a complete panic because you don't know how you're going to react in that type of situation, said Dr. John Cicchini.
Well, it's your story, Jackson.
You really
said that like a question.
Cicchini?
You don't really necessarily have an emergency plan in place. We're just in Bell Vernon here, so you know that caused a lot of chaos. Howell has been charged with aggravated assault, simple assault, recklessly endangering another person, criminal mischief, indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness.
Paging Dr. Cicchini.
Courtney Johnston has left her purse in this room. Do you have it over there?
Yeah, it's right there.
You see it over there? Okay.
I figured it wasn't yours.
It was not mine. So I don't know who can get it to her. There's
Cameron.
4 of us.
Yeah.
Cameron's got to do nincompoop.
He's the finale.
Oh, yeah. I can
You want me to take it to her?
Yeah, you're done. Ken Weaver, you're up.
All right, I'm going to take it to her. I gotta do this. Y'all do the nincompoop.
I got the radio show.
All right, you do you.
Oh,
All
wow.
right, the Matt Murphy radio show. Ken Weaver, your nincompoop, sir.
Hospital evacuated after World War I artillery shell discovered in patient's butt. A French hospital partially evacuated over the weekend after doctors discovered that a 24-year-old man seeking emergency care had a live artillery shell lodged in his rectum. According to multiple reports, the man arrived late Saturday night complaining of extreme rectal pain. Medical staff initiated emergency surgery, during which they uncovered an object that was later identified as an 8-inch World War I era artillery shell dating back to 1918.
Where do you even get one of those?
Doctors suspended the procedure and alerted authorities. A security perimeter was established and parts of the hospital were evacuated. Bomb technicians later determined the device did not pose an immediate explosion threat, allowing the hospital to resume operations after the shell was neutralized. The unnamed Frenchman remains hospitalized but is expected to recover following the extraction.
What did he...
Why did he do
many
it?
questions.
Yeah.
Authorities said they plan to interview him once he feels up to it.
That's going to be a great interview.
I would like to be there for that.
So, how did that happen?
So, did you fall on it?
So there was this artillery shell, and I thought to myself, no, bad.
No, horrible idea.
Just
what are you even thinking about? Like, what goes through your demented little mind that makes that think that that's okay?
Is I can handle people who don't think. Like, I know that. Right. I've seen that. But you have to do that, you have to think poorly.
Yeah, it's a willful act.
Right. You have gone through an analysis.
And you got to find one of these things.
Yep. And you've just said...
Like, they aren't just laying around. I mean, I don't know how it is in France, but I know here, we don't have World War I artillery shells just laying around to shove up our butts.
I'll give you the... yeah.
Whoa!
Frenchman artillery shell in the butt.
Okie dokie.
Ken Weaver just wasn't nincompoop.
Well, did y'all... Please tell me, did y'all do the Cuban meat thief yet?
Yes.
Yeah. Really? That's horrible. It's terrible.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well, then my nincompoop is very, very quick. It is Judge Janine, who is now the Attorney General for the District of Columbia, who is now all over the news because she said, quote, "I don't care if you have a license in another district, and I don't care if you're a law-abiding gun owner somewhere else. You bring a gun into this district, count on going to jail."
Heller versus D.C.? Wasn't it Heller versus D.C.?
Pretty wild. And hope you get the gun back.
I think that's right. I think I got the case
you
right.
did. Perfect. And she appeared on Fox News and said that. And the less than 24 hours later, I'm a proud supporter of the Second Amendment.
Oh, wow.
Washington, D.C. law requires handguns be licensed in the district with the Metropolitan Police Department to be carried in our community. We are focused on individuals who are unlawfully carrying guns and will continue building on that momentum to keep our communities safe.
Hey, Ken, you know what that sounds? She misspoke.
Misspoke.
I love it when I love it when they misspoke.
She just needed to clarify.
Yeah, she just needed to offer clarification.
The NRA should just go to the administration and be like, guys, it's clear we need a primer in the Second Amendment. Right. Let's just go over this again.
Yeah, Kash Patel and Janine, y'all just need to stop shooting from the hip, so to speak. When it comes to the Second Amendment.
That's what that Frenchman was doing. He was shooting from the hip.
Ken Weaver, congratulations on your nincompoop's victory. Yay! Artillery shell up I didn't even hear it, but all I need to hear is artillery shell up the butt, and I know you won.
Yeah, probably.
That's how you do it. You can vote for Cameron, you can vote for Jackson, you can vote for Matt, or you can vote for the winner, Ken Weaver. On Super Talk 99.7 WTN, it's 56 after the hour. That's how we play. We'll ask Cameron what he thinks about the situation involving NES right after this. Nobody knows more than Shane Ring how confusing health insurance coverage can be. They design it that way. But Shane, by design, is here to help get rid of the red tape, get rid of the confusion, get rid of the mathematics exam, and get to the bottom of it. Let's make it simple. At Cover Nash, for example, they have a nationwide PPO plan that gives you the freedom to choose your doctor anywhere in the United States without the headaches. Only $250 in a deductible. Flat copays after the deductible. $50 for any doctor visit, even specialists. Outpatient surgeries, $250 copay. These are real figures, folks. Ask Shane Ring about this when you make the call that so many others have made to Cover Nash. They work with over 75 top insurance companies with options for any budget and any pre-existing condition. You do not have to play by the government's rules. You can cut through that red tape and get good coverage on your own through Cover Nash. Call Shane today. His team is located in Brentwood. He's ready to talk with you in person or via phone at 615-465-0023, 465-0023, or online at covernash.com. Cover Nash, real health coverage on your terms, not the government's.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes right now in Nashville. 6,558 still without power. 11 days out from the winter storm. Death toll stands at 25 statewide. At Tennessee, State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson telling WTN's Matt Murphy show lawmakers are discussing what to do about NES. He says he's received a lot of feedback from customers who live outside of Nashville but have no say as to who is appointed to the utilities governing board other than Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Do they want to continue to be serviced by Nashville Electric Service? A lot of questions about what can we do. We're looking into that from a legal standpoint.
During today's Metro briefing, a reporter told Mayor O'Connell she received an email from the chair of the Electric Power Board that governs NES, and the chair expressed total confidence in NES leadership. Starting next school year, Metro Nashville Public Schools to operate on a new set of start and end times. The biggest shift moves high schools to a 7:25 a.m. start, elementary schools at 8:10, middle schools at 8:55. MNPS says the changes follow months of study. They're meant to support student health and keep the system efficient. California's Democrat-friendly congressional map officially in play for the midterms.
The Supreme Court did not explain its decision in a single-sentence order, but will allow California's new congressional map to go forward. California Democrats, and specifically Governor Gavin Newsom, pushed the change in the map as a response to Texas and other GOP-led states redrawing their maps at President Trump's urging to give Republicans a better chance at retaining a majority control of Congress. Last year, the Supreme Court declined to block Texas's new map as well. Alex Stone, ABC News.
A Florida federal court has sentenced Ryan Wesley Ruth to life in prison for his foiled 2024 plot to assassinate President Trump. Recently, court-appointed defense attorney Martin Roth on what's next.
The judge may have mistakenly applied the federal crime of terrorism enhancement, and that will be probably the leading issue on appeal. I will be filing a notice of appeal in this case.
That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. .40 westbound in Bellevue is a parking lot for two reasons. We've got emergency utility work just past a 70, and then just past McCrory Lane, we've got a crash. Other issues of note, Rivergate, an accident 65 northbound at Vietnam Veterans. That's a 23-minute delay. Cedar Hill and Robertson, a stalled vehicle, 24 westbound past Maxey Road. Woodbine, a crash, 440 eastbound past Nolensville Pike. Goodlettsville, 65 northbound at Long Hollow Pike. Rural Hill, 24 eastbound before Bell Road. In Laverne, an injury crash blocking the right lane, 24 westbound near Waldron Road. Over here on the South Loop, 40 eastbound at exit 210C. I'm Ken Weaver.
Super Talk 99.7 WTN, Matt Murphy. The Matt Murphy Radio Show continues. Happy to have you with us. The chair of the NES board, Ann Davis, has indicated through an email that she has, quote-unquote, confidence in the Nashville Electric Service leadership as outages continue to linger into day 11. Quote, we have confidence in our leadership team at NES, and right now, everyone is working on getting power back to all of our customers. As far as whether the storm response could have been done differently or better, that's something we'll be looking at after this crisis is over. That, according to Karen Aguilar from Fox 17, locally here in Nashville. To talk about this and other matters, we are joined by our good friend Cameron Smith of the Tennessean. He comes in on these Wednesdays, and we always appreciate his presence and his acumen on the subject matter at hand. Hello, Cameron.
Acumen.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word.
Thank you.
Hi.
I learned it from Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Hannibal Lecter had a way with words.
Yeah, Hannibal told Clarice Starling to thrill us with your acumen.
That's
like okie dokie. Yeah, it is
scary
kind of
when you say that.
Oh, I mean, I can do the whole scene for you if you want me to. So before I get to Leroy and Alan, they've been holding for a long time wanting to talk about NES. I feel like we were talking about this last week this time, Cameron. And we're still here. Many people have had power restored to them. Now is the time to kind of start looking back. I feel like it's time that we started looking at the performance levels prior to the storm, during the storm, and now after the storm. And I've not talked to a single. I asked the question of Jack Johnson. I asked the question of Courtney Johnston. I asked the question of Marsha Blackburn. I asked Andy Ogles. I've asked every political figure I've asked that has been willing to come on has answered in the same way, that there is no way that the CEO of Nashville Electric Service should or will survive this incompetency. What say you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can argue with you if you want, but it's been really not
really
great.
Bad.
I mean, look, let's just assume, and this is a dangerous thing to do, assume that what they did was reasonable. Like their prep, their everything. Dangerous assumption. Don't think it's true. But let's just assume that. The communication was so abysmal that the communication alone is a reason that they should clean house. Like, I'm fine with the Tennessee legislature engaging in this one and being like, no, you're not staying, because that's dangerous when you can't even tell people really what's going on or why.
What's even more dangerous, it's my understanding that instead of hiring a forward or outward-looking communications team, instead of hiring a team that would say, okay, this is how we're going to coordinate our press conferences from now on, this is how we're going to communicate with the general public, these are how we're going to do our press releases, and this is the person that needs to be up front, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. They've hired an inwardly looking crisis management team that is designed to protect them.
Well, they got to answer questions like, what are the pronouns of a tree in the right-of-way? And that takes time and energy and resources, man.
I was trying to think of what a pronoun for a tree in the right-of-way would be. Oak, boke? I don't know.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And the level...
Pine mine.
Communication alone is
well, we were discussing...
terrible.
We even before we understood... This was a week ago. You were the first to say it. That even before we understood the totality of the significance of the poor decision-making... And now we understand that instead of owning some of those decisions, they've decided to lie about them.
Mm-hmm.
But even last week, you were like, where is the communication? Why are people not speaking forwardly more about this? Why are they just not giving information to the people? That goes a long way in calming down a lot of the emotions that people are still feeling a week later.
Yeah, and I love training people to do this stuff, to talk. I mean, this is stuff that anybody who's public facing should know how to do. You get out there, and when you don't know what's going on, you pivot and say, you know what, I'll get back to you. You stand there, you take the slings and arrows of the public because they have to know that they're going through it. And if you're not willing to take the heat... Whew.
Did you see the disastrous press conference yesterday?
I read some of the quotes.
Well, here's what you can't do. You can't go back and look at it now because after posting it on their YouTube page, they pulled it. They made it private.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was that bad?
Oh, yeah. It was awful. It was just awful. And not a syllable of apology to the customers, which is just infuriating. Just come out and say, I'm sorry for the mistakes that we have made. Obviously, we have made mistakes. And then you can go on and on about the unprecedented nature of the storm or whatever. But you apologize for mistakes made. Nothing. No, it's like some lawyer got in her ear right before she went on stage and said, don't apologize for anything because it might open the door on a lawsuit.
Yeah. And my take on this is you need to take the heat, literally. The only heat they took was from the power being out. Other than that, they've been hiding. And you can't do that. You gotta take the shots and say, I hear you, and then communicate.
Well, they're not communicating, and they're not hearing people either. We're hearing Leroy. Leroy, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, I just wanted to say that my power came on this morning over here in Belle Meade on Alton Drive, and we've got power lines that run in the alleyway, and we've got power lines that run on the front. So my question is this, we've got a lot of white oak trees, which commonly get to 85 feet, red oak trees that commonly get to 70 feet. We've got the state tree of the state of Tennessee, the poplar, the tulip poplar down here that gets to 180 feet commonly. If you're going to, everybody's talking about the pruning. Be careful what you're asking for, because now they're going to write it up to where they can come 70 feet into my property to cut an 85-foot hardwood tree. If you do that in my front yard and you do that in my alleyway, you're going to take all my trees for a storm that's only going to come in every 80 years. I would rather not have my power for 10 days every 80 years than for the municipality to come in and clear my lot and take all my gorgeous trees.
Okay.
Seems fair.
Thanks, man.
Hey, Leroy, what? All right, Leroy left. Leroy, I wasn't trying to be flip. I wasn't denying you your position on the issue.
Yeah.
You also, through hard work and through your own dedication to whatever career that you've decided to undertake, if you live in Belle Meade, then you have an ability to do things prior to the storm that others do not have the ability to do to protect yourself and your family through your own personal resources. I don't begrudge you those resources. I don't begrudge you those abilities. I'm glad that you have them. But we also recognize that not everybody has those abilities. And I understand that Belle Meade doesn't want people in there cutting the trees. I've heard that over and over again. So I wasn't trying to be flip with you when I said that. I've heard that Belle Meade has been very protective of their canopy.
Yeah.
And
I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
My take on it is it's 2026. We can figure this stuff out, folks. Like, we can come up with mitigation strategies and things like that so that this does not happen.
My thing, and what I was going to say before you hung up, Leroy, which, once again, I wasn't trying to be flip with your position. Your position is your opinion.
It's a
your
fair
opinion.
take.
It's a fair take. What I was going to say is that's fine. I've even said I don't have so much a problem with Teresa Broyles-Applin's position on canopy. But if you take that position on canopy and 10 days before this storm comes in, we're told that an ice storm is possible. And 5 days before this storm rolls in, we're told that there's a possibility of a quarter to a half inch of ice accumulation. And 4 days before the storm comes in, I have Dan Thomas talking to me about freezing rain and how dramatic that is and how bad that can be and how that's going to bring trees down. All right, so now you're Teresa Broyles-Applin, and you know what your position is on canopy, and you know what the people of Belmead have told you they want on canopy. Then you know that you need more linemen in place.
Yeah.
Don't you? You know that this storm is coming and it's a 25-year storm and that you have to get people in place. You know how many people were in place? 160.
Right.
Charlotte, North Carolina had 18,000. Atlanta, Georgia had 10,000. These are not made-up figures. They had 10,000 linemen in Atlanta, Georgia. We had 160 in Nashville. So you can do one, but you can't do both of those two things.
You should tell people ahead of time. We have prioritized the canopy to keep our city beautiful, and that means that these trees, some of them are going to come down. They're going to take out lines all over the place. It's going to be a mess. We're letting you know. We need to, if you have a health issue or something like that, let us know so we can help make sure that you maintain power so that we can be safe.
Right. We made these decisions for the benefit of our community. We made these decisions because the people of our community spoke loud and clear, and they said that's what they wanted. But here's the reality, and that takes a communications team.
Yeah.
That they didn't have.
At all.
Alan will get, let's get Alan right now. Hey, Alan, how are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for calling.
So, I work in the industry, the public power industry, and I follow 99.7, and I understand that it's a option or opinion-driven radio station. But my concern is over the week, the past 2 weeks, really, and also the last week more specifically, is I believe NES is getting a raw end of the deal on some of this. Because people aren't doing their research and understand how the industry works. Like I hear some of your guests, and they don't know who has oversight of the NES board, things like that. But I think you have to step back and understand public power as a whole. And in the TVA region, which covers 7 states, there are 153 local power companies. 60 of those in Tennessee are municipality-owned power companies. So sometimes there's a little difference, but the city council, board of mayor and aldermen appoint the power board, the board that oversees the power companies.
Yeah, what do they do?
The power board?
Mm-hmm.
They do similar to any board of any company. They set the vision, they set policy, rates.
The vision is the power stays on.
Well, absolutely it's the vision, but there's more that goes into the vision than the power stays on. You got to have rate discussions, policy discussions, all that stuff.
So they decided to cut the tree trimming budget, for example.
Well, I'm not speaking for NES, or I don't really have an opinion. I don't know what their board did. Or
well, you're accusing us of doing something wrong, though, Alan. I'm curious, what are we doing wrong then?
Well, not necessarily wrong, but have you reached out to anyone that's in the industry?
Yes.
To get some of these answers?
Yes. Yes.
And you can't get the answers?
I can't get a single person employed by NES to come on this radio show. Not a single person.
Well, when I say industry, I mean public power as a whole that would have some more knowledge on some of the questions that you were asking. Not just you, but Dan Mandis and others that are asking on air and on the Facebook page that are not that difficult of questions for someone that's in the industry.
Like what? Like, for example, what kind of questions do you think we need to get answers from others in the industry?
Well, what's a question that you have about providing the power to the city and the surrounding area?
No. My questions are specific to NES because this did not occur with any other electrical company. There's not another electrical company that you can name that experienced.
That's inaccurate.
Yeah, well, excuse me, Alan. Then tell me the company that experienced the level of outages that NES experienced and the level of at least perceived inadequacy in response to those outages. What company?
Sure. Now, when you say level of outages, you have to understand that NES has, close to 500,000 customers.
So does MTE.
Okay. And I'm not speaking for MTE either, but the ice storm hit the western part of their system.
Yeah. Now, see, it starts sounding like excuse making because now it's not. This only happened with NES, and you're saying it's because.
No, it didn't. If you look in Mississippi right now, they still
I'm talking
have
about in I'm talking about in Tennessee.
Well, Mississippi, the northern part of Mississippi is covered by the same.
I'm talking about in Middle Tennessee, Alan. I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm just talking about in Middle Tennessee. Is there another electrical company that experienced this level of inadequacy?
Well, I'm not stating that NES has had any inadequacies or that they haven't. What I'm saying is a devastating ice storm of that magnitude, it can take multiple weeks to restore the power.
But it didn't for MTE. And it didn't for Dixon, and it didn't for Columbia, and it didn't for Cumberland, and it did. I mean, you want me to go on?
Well, you don't have to go on because I understand that. But they did not experience the devastation that Nashville did.
Okay, so so the devastation only affected NES customers. So it targeted. I mean, what Alan?
Well, let me ask a question because of your experience.
Yep.
Do you think NES's response is adequate? You are an experienced individual who understands the industry. Do you think that their response to this event has been adequate?
Well, I don't know the internal workings of NES, but I know that they have.
No,
it's just a question.
It doesn't matter whether you know the internal workings or not. It's based on your knowledge of the industry. Has the response by NES been adequate?
Well, they've got back on. They've restored power to 200,000 plus customers in less than 2 weeks. They have probably 800 plus broken poles, conductor down, trees everywhere. So from the outside looking in, I would say that the response to that massive amount of damages and outages is not unheard of. As I was stating, and you kind of interrupted, Mississippi had extreme damage. They are still working to restore the power there. You can't, if it's like a tornado comes through, it doesn't hit the entire state. This hit mainly the most devastating parts of this storm were in Nashville and the surrounding areas of Nashville.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not speaking to, communication or any of that. I just wanted you guys to have some of the facts around the public power model and how it is managed. It's very special that the public power model, local governance, and that's what you want, and that's what you have in Nashville. You have local governments over your utility and municipality. If you get out of the 7-state territory, a lot of people aren't fortunate to have that.
So if you understand the public power model better than I do, tell me who has firing authority for the CEO that is an elected official. So no elected official has firing authority.
I will say that the public power companies that I'm familiar with.
By the way, what are those, Alan?
The 153 of the local power companies that TVA provides power to.
Who do you work for?
I work for a local utility in Middle Tennessee.
Who is that?
Oklahoma Utilities.
Okay.
So the question was, who has the firing authority?
Mm-hmm.
That is the board.
What elected official has firing authority?
No elected official. The board, the city council appoints that board.
Well, the mayor appoints the board, and the Metro Council signs off on it.
Sure. In Nashville, that's how it works from what I hear on your station.
Yeah.
But
I want you to finish up. I've only got about 30 seconds. I'm way behind time, but I'm going to give you the floor. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying the reasons for my call is to help you more understand how public power works and what the benefit is to Nashville and the entire valley.
If I have presented myself as someone that is anti-public power, then I apologize.
Okay. Well, and like I said, I'm a long-time listener of 99.7, but, the flames just keep growing and growing on this situation that Nashville's dealing with. And I just hate to see that. It's not, like I said, you can look just to Mississippi.
Did you see the press conference yesterday?
I did not.
Okay. All right. Like I said, I've got to run. Thank you, Alan, for the telephone call. Thank you for the perspective. I'm insanely late. It is 29 after the hour. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy. Defense Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right in Middle Tennessee. What Brink Findler does is pretty simple. He comes into places of business or churches or schools, places where people gather, and he helps better prepare you for the unlikely event that something negative might happen in that circumstance or situation. It's a dangerous world out there, folks, and we need to be prepared. Hope is not a plan. It simply isn't. We need to get trained, and that training comes from the best at Defense Systems. Active shooter response, workplace violence prevention, site survey and threat assessment, security improvement consultation, all designed for your facility. Reach out today at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or online at defensesystems.com. That's defensesystems.com.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, still 6,501 people without power, 11 days out from the winter storm. Death toll stands at 25 statewide. Tennessee Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson on WTN's Matt Murphy Show spoke on the possibility the state takes over NES from the mayor-appointed Electric Power Board.
What can we do? We're looking into that from a legal standpoint. Interestingly, not to pivot, but, we did something similar to what many are proposing for the NES board with the Nashville Airport Authority several years ago.
Well, that law to take over the Airport Authority Board is tied up right now on appeal in the Tennessee Supreme Court. A reporter at today's briefing said Electric Power Board Chair Delta Ann Davis expressed in an email that she has total confidence in leadership at NES. Mayor Freddie O'Connell asked to respond.
I expect we'll continue to talk to them. Again, they're not daily operationally involved. We're focused on those daily operations.
Metro schools adjusting daily schedules beginning in the 2026-27 school year. High schools will start 20 minutes later at 7:25, elementary 18, middle schools 8:55. Money News, Michelle Franzen.
It was a mixed finish for stocks on Wall Street. Markets were pulled down thanks to a drop in tech stocks. The Dow gained 259 points, the S&P lost 35, and the Nasdaq dropped 350 points. Advanced Micro Devices lost 17%, despite reporting a stronger profit for the latest quarter than analysts were expecting. It may not have been enough for investors who are questioning if big tech stock prices are too high. Uber also weighed on the market, falling 5%. The Washington Post has laid off 1/3 of its staff, eliminating its sports section, several foreign bureaus, and its books coverage. The educational media company Complexly is turning into a nonprofit. Owners Hank and John Green garner millions of views with popular shows like Crash Course, which explains common classroom subjects. They say they want to ensure access to fact-based content that's free of advertiser interest.
That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News. Westbound 40 is a parking lot for two reasons. The first reason is just past 70, you've got some emergency utility work. And then at McCrory Lane, you've got a crash that's blocking the right lane. Accident left two lanes blocked in North Nashville right now. That's going to be Briley Parkway eastbound at Dickerson Pike. Lebanon Pike at Donaldson Pike, an injury crash. I'm Ken Weaver.
Friends, Matt Murphy for Savory Spice. Savory Spice is owned by Holly and David. They're located down in Franklin. You can see them from the square, right beside Gray's Pharmacy. Go in and smell the smells, the delicious and incredible aroma of the spices from all over the world. They blend together in a beautiful aroma at Savory Spice, and I love it. Holly, when people come in to introduce themselves, if they've never been in the shop, she walks around and she goes, we've got samples. All you got to do is pour it in your hand, sniff it, taste it if you like, and then dump it on the floor, and we'll clean it up later. And that creates that incredible aroma at Savory Spice. I mean, they've got salts, they've got peppers, of course, they've got specific seasoning blends that they create right there in-house. And then, of course, all of the flavors that you know and love that you need for your food items. You can get them at Savory Spice. Restock the cupboards. Find something new with the Spice and Easy line of products. Find something for the loved one in your life that loves to cook. If there's a gift-giving opportunity, you can find it at Savory Spice. I like to say you get to an age where you up your food game by upping your spice game. And you up your spice game at the one and only Savory Spice, located in the heart of Franklin. Want to know about a place where European Auto Repair does not feel like European Auto Repair? Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and I'm here to tell you about that space. It's Aaron Stokes. It's Eurofix. You'll notice Eurofix is not your typical greasy garage. Waiting rooms are clean and comfortable. Inviting service areas are spotless because Eurofix cares about everything from how you're treated to how your vehicle's treated. Every repair comes with a rock-solid 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on all repairs they perform at below dealer pricing. You don't have to put up with dealer prices. You don't have to put up with getting ghosted. Aaron Stokes believes in protecting you, protecting the customer, and doing it the right way the first time. Plus, you get a rental car available at every appointment. Locations in Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, and Mount Juliet. Call 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or online at myEurofix.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Kathy writes in and says, hate to say it, I kind of agree with this guy. In 1994, I was without power for 3 weeks. Takes time to restore that much power. I think we just live in an instant gratification society. They want it, and they want it now. I understand that position. Matt Murphy, Cameron Smith in with us, 41 after the hour. By the way, I should note that in terms of individual linemen, I give all kudos to those linemen, those workers. When they are assigned a task, sadly, what we've learned is that the management fails to give them adequate assignments. And so oftentimes what I've been told is that they find themselves doing nothing until they get to the next assignment, and they are reprimanded if they try to do anything on their own. And you heard a little bit of that at the press conference yesterday where Teresa Broyles-Applin was kind of chiding the workers that they are not supposed to go to houses that put homemade signs out in front of their yards, begging the linemen to come to their houses. But those linemen do great work, and obviously we wish we had more of them on the front end. Kathy, what I would say on the 1994 question, I was not here, obviously. I've been without power in the past. I was without power for 10 days during an ice storm in Birmingham, Alabama. I understand what it's like. I understand that it's very frustrating. And on the front end of this, I was defensive of those that were out and about trying to get the power back on by saying, listen, you've got to do for yourself and you got to understand that these things happen. But the more you learn, the more you know. And what we found out was that there was precious little pre-planning. There was precious little staging prior to this event. And one would think that the 1994 storm should have informed Nashville Electric Service how to do things better and more adequately, not this week, but last year and the year before last. And apparently, from everything that I've heard, they lost their way. Jackson, do you have a question or a comment?
It was unprecedented, Matt.
Oh, that's true. We were told with good authority that it was unprecedented, Cameron.
Yeah, this whole thing is dumb. I mean, all you had to do was be honest, communicate with the people that were in a bad ice storm, and you didn't do it. So I understand there's a lot of trees down. You can literally drive a car around or a truck and see all the trees that are down. That is not the problem. The problem is, did you prepare appropriately ahead of time, and did you communicate as this was unfolding?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is, as it seems, no and no. And so there has to be some accountability for that to say, well, it was a bad storm. I agree.
Well, outages in NES area were 9 times those over at MTE. Okay. Why? Is it, was Mount Juliet less affected than, Belmead? Was the I hear people saying, oh, the ice impacted NES more greatly than any other area. I don't believe that. One. I do believe that the ice had a greater impact on the trees because apparently NES had a different tree cutting policy than MTE. Well, that's fine too, but communicate that on the front end.
Yeah.
Explain to that. We can disagree on your tree trimming policy, but it's your tree trimming policy, and that's fine. But you have to be aware, if that's your policy, what the dangers are with that policy. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, the idea that you and I'll say to all your listeners, I was here last Wednesday when you had a scheduled NES rep to come on and talk, and they had meetings that came up
and they called us 2 minutes before the scheduled time to talk.
I was here when that happened, and the fact that we're still having the conversation tells you that I actually don't care about the underlying issue with tree policy or how long was the power out or where did the storm hit. Like, I get all that. That's okay. The fact that you did not talk to people when you had the opportunity and you did not say, hey, this is more severe than we thought. It is really impacting this area. What can we do to help? We are out there. The linemen are busting it. Because they have specific priorities that they have to tackle, they can't come to your house specifically. It won't help you. Like, there are plenty of things that could have happened that did not happen. That is the problem. And so I think what you're going to see is NES trying to say, well, it's unprecedented. Look over there.
Did Alan say he worked at Tullahoma?
Mm-hmm. He did.
I wonder if he's Alan Potter, the president and CEO of Tullahoma Utilities.
I mean, there could be more Allens at Tullahoma. That would be kind of funny.
That'd be funny if that was Alan.
That would be really funny.
Hey, Alan, if that was you, just let us know, bro. It's okay. I mean, you can come at that on the front end, but Alan is – well, there's an Alan Potter who is the head of Tullahoma Utilities. One of my sleuthy field reporters gave me that information that he was named president in 2024, apparently. Now, that could or could not be our Alan. We don't know.
We don't know.
But Alan did say that he worked for Tullahoma.
He did.
And there's an Alan that's the CEO of Tullahoma Utilities. And, okay.
Hey.
And listen, that probably informs his position more so. I mean, Alan, by the way, and if that is you, I'm not attacking publicly controlled monopolies.
I will.
Right? What I'm saying is that the people need to have more of a direct say in the hiring and firing of those individuals. And I don't understand. Alan, I hope you're listening. I don't understand what the board of NES does that cannot be done by the Metro Council. Why do we farm out that decision-making to people who clearly don't understand, like you do, Alan, utilities? They don't have any background in utilities. They don't have any information about any special knowledge. They don't have any. So I don't understand why we do that.
I'm sorry. I got distracted because Representative Burchett's daughter is a barrel racing world champion.
What?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, but she won a barrel racing world championship.
0210 says, stop beating up NES. People are innocent until proven guilty, Matt. Your CNN is coming out of you. What?
CNN.
What are you?
I always knew it. You need to smile more, like Caitlin Collins, you know? Can you do that for me? Be good.
That's funny. 0210, that's funny. Thank you. Let's talk about the Trash Panda Act.
Yeah.
This is happening?
Yeah. Real legislation. I was just texting about it. I just tweeted out on the X machine at D. Cameron Smith the one-pager for the Trash Panda Act. But we have all things moving forward. We're trying to hammer out the details, get the legislative text drafted. Need to meet with TWRA because apparently you got to meet with the bureaucracy to try to stop the bureaucracy from regulating your ability to own a raccoon. Seems weird, but okay. And, I got a message that old Scott Sapicki is not going to support it.
What?
Yeah.
Well, Sapicki comes on tomorrow.
Well, you better ask him about it.
Well, it's the only thing we're going to talk about. It's the only thing I want to talk to him about.
So,
Sapicki, if you're listening, the only thing we're talking about is Trash Panda. We're going to figure out why you aren't supportive of freedom-minded people acting in a manner consistent with their beliefs and their liberties and their personal responsibility. Why? I mean, Sapicki, why don't you sponsor the act that's going to prevent, people from owning dogs? Because dogs bite people. That's a dangerous thing, man. Got to protect people from themselves, brother.
You got to get a pet registry now.
I didn't realize Sapicki was so liberal.
The state, this is one of the things that people, he's going to love that. The problem here in Tennessee is we have well-meaning bureaucracies. So everybody's conservative because it's Tennessee. Sorry, Nashville and Memphis. But everybody else is pretty conservative. But we have these bureaucracies at the state level that tell the legislature, the General Assembly, hey, here's what we think you can do and not do. And it needs to be the other way around of saying, why are we doing things that we don't need to do? So stop. And that's all the Trash Panda Act is designed to do. It was a little tongue-in-cheek, but the idea was, is there a good reason to require a license to own a raccoon? And the answer is no, because I looked at Arkansas statute, and they said you could catch 6 by hand, and you can own them. Okay, cool. So why do we need in Tennessee a different paradigm? Well, they could be rabbits. So can dogs. You got to vaccinate them if they're your pet.
Yep.
Sweet. That's easy. And what you realize is that you have bureaucrats whose job is to tell you what you can't do as a freedom-loving American, and that's literally what they spend their time doing.
And when you question those folks on something as simple as this, they get all cute and they laugh it off and they act like, oh, this is silly. No, it's not silly. The concept of living free is not silly. I mean, this is a good example of how some lawmakers, looking at you, Sapicki, pick and choose when they truly believe in freedom versus when they think the state should act as your nanny and tell you what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do.
Right, and I'm telling the state, you got to justify why we have to ask you to catch a raccoon as a pet. Now, granted, that's dumb. You don't need to do that. But the point is, the state shouldn't step in and stop you without a dang good reason, and I haven't heard it. It's just, well, you disease. Well, yeah. So have you ever been out hunting before?
Yeah.
You ever cleaned a deer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Disease.
Right.
We don't know that deer doesn't carry some bad disease.
Maybe Sapicki's anti-hunting.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll find out. I don't want to mischaracterize his position on the issue, but you've heard that he's against it?
Yeah, I got a text saying that he said he's not going to sign on.
Huh. That's interesting.
And it concerns me that the legislators we've talked to it is a simple proposition. You should be free to catch and have a raccoon as a pet if you want. It's not and I understand it seems silly, but the fact is the state of Tennessee is saying, no, we have reasons and rules and stuff that you got to follow.
They act, a lot of these lawmakers act so very small government until they're not.
Until they're not. Well, people could get hurt,
Yeah, well, you know what? If I'm going to be left to my own devices, responsible for my own person, I might get hurt.
Yeah.
And it's not the state's job to prevent that.
And we can't fix stupid.
Right.
So if you want to go hand catch a raccoon, something's not good. Something not good is going to happen.
If I own a four-wheeler, I might get hurt. You know what I might also do? I might hurt someone else on that four-wheeler. Guess who's responsible for that? Me.
Amen.
What we shouldn't do is ban four-wheelers because of what might happen. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for United Structural Systems. Well, the ice, for the most part, is gone. I mean, I see some of it piled up in places, but for the most part, the rain has dissipated the ice, but that means that it's now water. That rain has come as well. Is that getting in your house? Do you know if it's getting in your house? Well, it can be a very, very serious issue, and we think about it this time of year because there's a lot of water coming down. If you know that you have water coming in your house, can you figure out where it's coming from? It can be a nightmare, poor drainage or small cracks in your foundation or even a hidden plumbing leak. If this happens, you need the reliable resource of USS, United Structural Systems. They are your waterproofing experts. They can come to your home, figure out what's going on, and they'll customize a plan to fix it jiffy quick for as little money as possible. United Structural Systems, call them at 615-488-7855. 488-7855 or online at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Homeowners simply trust the best USS. Nashville Safe House is celebrating, I found out, 34 years in the safe industry. That's what Mark said the other day. 34 years. They've been doing it a long time, folks, in the right way. They keep your important valuables secure from theft or from fire. Don't hide them in a box. Don't hide them under your bed. The better way to secure your valuables is to purchase a quality safe from Nashville Safe House. They have all the brand names that you know and love. Brand names like Fort Knox, Browning, Champion, Superior, Rhino, all of them right there in 4th Avenue South, and all available for you and all in stock. They have over 200 in stock on the showroom floor and another 400 or so in their warehouse. They have the safe for you at Nashville Safe House. If you're looking for something big, something small, if you're looking for a biometric, if you're looking for something to fit into a particular space in your home, they can do all of that at Nashville Safe House. Go see Mark and his team. Jill really does run the show. She's right there in the lobby office. You can see Donald Trump and the Murphy special right in the lobby, and then you walk through the showroom doors and you'll see the incredible warehouse full of safes at Nashville Safe House. Online at NashvilleSafeHouse.com, NashvilleSafeHouse.com, or on the road, 4th Avenue South, across from City Cemetery. Go see them. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Nashville Safe House. That's going to wind down our portion of the broadcast day. Cameron Smith, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Call your legislator and tell them you support the Trash Panda Act. Thank you very much for that. We appreciate you. We'll be back on a Thursday. Scott Sapicki is scheduled to be with us in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow. We also have a few other special guests that we'll tell you about at some other time. Right now, it's time to say goodbye. For Jackson Williams and Ken Weaver, thank you for being with us. This is Matt Murphy speaking and saying, hug your loved ones. So long, everybody.